Good morning, Northwest Indiana. This is Region Rundown with Bob and Adrianna here on WJOB 1230 AM 104.7 FM. We've got a whole set of winter cold related stories here, but let's get right into the traffic and the weather, and then we can spend probably the next half hour talking about everything that's closed.
Yes.
And if you've got any information on what may or may not be open or closed, if you know of any warming shelters that are open, give us a call at 845-1100. Adriana, how's the traffic looking?
So traffic right now in the Northwest region is actually looking pretty good. 80 going east and west is looking good. 90 going east and west is looking good. 65 going north and south is looking pretty good as well. Chicago Skyways are looking good. Ormond and Ryan is looking good. We do have a little bit of actually no, not too much traffic, but it may pick up an accident on LaGrange Road North at I-55 Stevenson Expressway going south. That was reported at 5:52 a.m. Doesn't look like some traffic is building up, but just be cautious of that. Eisenhower going, let's see here. Eisenhower going east and west is looking good, but the rest of Stevenson is looking good north and south. 94 going east and west is looking pretty good around the city as well as the airports. So not a lot of people driving out on this cold weather. Speaking of weather, Joe, you got weather?
Hello, good morning.
You sound so excited to be here.
I am. If you guys can't tell, I'm dressed for the weather, unlike everyone else in the studio. I can't wait to take the hood off.
It's another hood.
So today, like I've been saying all day, it is going to be absolutely freezing. The real feel right now is about -24. I don't know how much worse it's going to get, but that's still obviously awful. We're going to have a high of -1, but that's real temp, not actual real feel. It'll always feel colder like that, colder than that the whole day. So stay bundled up, stay inside if you guys can help it. And then as for the rest of the weekend, tomorrow is going to be a high of 11 with a low of 7, but the real feel is going to be a 5. So you're going to have a cold weather advisory going through the morning as well. And then a little accumulation of snow later in the afternoon. And then to close out the weekend on Sunday, we'll have a real feel of 1. And then we'll get about 1 to 3 inches of accumulated snow throughout the day. So it's going to be a pretty terrible weekend, which I've been saying today and yesterday, but gotta suck it up, fellas. That's your weather.
Thank you very much. One of the first things I want to get into, we'll talk about closures in a second. We do have some notices for some warming shelters in East Chicago. It's Riley Park Hall, Highland, the Lincoln Center, Hammond, the Gene Shepherd Community Center, Civic Center, Hammond Sports Complex, Cherville Town Court will serve as their warming shelter. Dyer Police Department will serve as their warming shelter. If you know of any, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and comment there. Give us a call if you know of anything. Adriana, you've got a list of about 30 closures.
Yes, so I'm going to try and do this in alphabetical order as few have been added to the list. Actually, probably about only 3. So here are the school closures that we have here in the Northwest region. If we are missing any, please let us know in our YouTube comments and or call us at 219-845-1100. Going in alphabetical order, these are the schools that will be closed. They will either be closed and or have e-learning. Be sure to check your emails. Andrean High School, Bishop Knoll Institute, Crown Point Community Schools, Duneland Schools, Eagle Park Community Schools, East Porter County School Corporation. Let's see here. Gary Community School Corporation, Griffith Public Schools, Hanover Community School Corporation, Kankakee Valley Schools, LaPorte Community School Corporation, Lake Central School Corporation, Lake Ridge New Tech Schools, Lake Station Community Schools, Maryville Schools, Michigan City Area, MSD of Boone Township, Hebron Schools, Portage Township, and Purdue University Northwest Hammond and Westville campuses, River Forest Community Schools, School City of East Chicago, Hammond, Hobart, Whiting, Let's see here. School town of Highland and Munster. Self School. I don't know where that one is at. South Central Community School Corporation. St. Paul's School of Valparaiso. Tri Creek School Corporation. Valpo University says all in-person academic classes at the university will be suspended while normal campus operations will continue. Valparaiso Community Schools. Then we have here Trinity Lutheran School, that's in Hobart. Knox Community Schools. Those teachers announced they will have online. There will be no extracurriculars. Chesterton United Methodist Church preschool has canceled. And then there is a list of others here. Let me make sure. Ivy Tech Community College in Valparaiso and Michigan City locations will operate virtually. They are encouraged to check Ivy Learn. And then I have a bunch of other stuff. You want me to go off of those too?
Go for it.
All right. Due to predicted cold, these are the other places that will not be either in service and that they will be closed. Meals on Wheels of Northwest Indiana will not be delivering meals on Friday for the safety of our clients, volunteers, and staff. All Porter County government offices and courts will be closed. Porter County Expo Center will be closed. The Banta Center will be closed. The Bonnier Senior and Community Center, Porter County Aging and Community Services. This includes transportation services as well as office operations. They will resume normal business hours on Monday. The Valparaiso compost sites will be closed as well on Friday and Saturday due to the extreme winter weather. The Gabus Arboretum at Purdue Northwest is also going to be closed. And it might be closed throughout the weekend. We are still waiting to hear from PNW.
Not Gabus.
I know.
Not Gabus.
We'll talk about that right after this one. And then the fish fry for DeMont American Legion Post 440 has been canceled. And I believe, hold on. I also have some schools in Illinois. Chicago Public Schools and Hoover Shroom Memorial School District 157 in Calumet City. We got anything over here? Nope. So the reason why me and Joe were just like, not Gabe, is we had a class where we had to do social media for Gabe's Arboretum. And it was
long.
Yeah, it was a long one. I will say, hey, shout out Gabe's Arboretum. You guys were actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, no,
with us.
Cool.
They liked our ideas. So, yeah, but these
I don't
are.
know if I did anything for that assignment, to be honest with you.
Did you already go get your diploma?
Oh yeah, I got my.
You're
diploma.
fine then. But yes, those are all the closures that we have. And if you have any more, please let us know in our YouTube comments and or call in. We got anything on that end?
Could take a break.
If you want, you tell us what to do.
I mean, it's up to if you guys have something else to say, man.
Go ahead and take the break now, because I think the next segment we'll be talking for quite a bit. So we'll go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back with any additional closures. If you have anything, 219-845-1100, and we'll get into the show.
Applications for their apprenticeship program, go to ironworkers395.com. Look under the training section, click on apprenticeship, and scroll down to the application. You must be 18 years old, have a high school diploma or GED, and you must be physically able to perform the work of the trade. Find out more by calling the apprenticeship school in Lake Station at 219-962-7675 or visit ironworkers395.com.
Browse your favorite products, add them to your cart, and check out in just a few quick steps. Choose between convenient in-store pickup or let us handle the heavy lifting. From our shelves to your doorstep, skip the lines, shop your way, and spend more time on what matters most. With our rewards program, enjoy incredible savings and personalized offers every time you shop. Shop online now at strackandvantail.com or download our app today.
But it's time. You gotta catch up. Yeah. I'll catch up with you. I'll be right back. I'll see you in a minute.
Yeah.
Well, what's up, boy? Hey, Ryan. Not tonight, man. Not tonight. Oh, yeah. You guys are right. Hey, come on. Let's go. Come in.
Are you searching for a college where you belong? Calumet College of St. Joseph wants to know you and give you the support you need to succeed. Are you worried about how you'll pay for your degree? 95% of our students receive financial aid, including scholarships and grants. Need some extra help with your classes? You'll benefit from our small class sizes, free tutoring, internship planning, faculty mentors, and so much more. Come experience our accepting, supportive college family for yourself. Schedule your campus visit and apply at ccsj.edu.
High school basketball postseason is here, with the girls starting February 3rd and boys March 3rd. Be on every game for as low as $1,500. Sponsor local. Reach millions. Visit heartlandsportsnet.com today for more information.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Region Rundown here with Bob and Adrianna. You know, we just went through the list of all the closures, and
We'll probably do that at 7 o'clock again.
oh, certainly. And again, if we just ran through that list. If you know of any extra closures that we didn't mention, any warming shelters that you think folks need to know about, give us a call at 218-845-1100. If I'm going to have a bit of a rant this morning, it's going to be on school closures. And this is going to be the, back in my day story of, back in my day, if it was really cold, we probably went to school. If there was a lot of snow, we probably went to school. But when we didn't, you had the day off. You could, it was a snow day. You'd go play outside in the snow, or you just, be cooped up in the house and watch TV. And now they have what I think is one of the worst holdovers from COVID is e-learning. I think it's absolute garbage. First off, unless you've got a kid in the system, it's really difficult to understand why that's such a pain. Because now, before, if you had a snow day, or for whatever reason they'd call off, you were more or less on your own. You could be shipped off to a friend's house. You could head over to the friends and family.
Good
whatever.
job, Joe.
Yeah, Joe's over here spilling coffee
on the thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, way to go. So if we fritz out, it's Joe's fault. But no. So now it's, you have Google Meet times and Zoom calls and all sorts of stuff that it's now school at home. And for a lot of folks, just because school was called off doesn't mean that work's called off.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that entire concept of e-learning takes almost zero consideration of home life balance, of folks needing to go to work, and it just bothers the heck out of me that it's even a thing. You said, so on the student end of it, Joe's done, you're still in it. We mentioned that Purdue is closed today, and they have some e-learning things. The only perspective I have is as a parent of a kid in elementary school. As a student, what is, is that something that, let me step back. What does Purdue do for e-learning? Campuses are closed today, but it looked like there was still stuff going on.
Yeah, so at least for Fridays, majority of people will not have class. Some people do. I know some people have classes on Fridays, and some even have classes at 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
Who would do that?
Professors that really love math.
Oh, geez.
I remember.
Is it really math?
The one class of my friend, he was telling me about, he's in construction management, and I asked, I was like, oh, what's your class schedule look like? Because usually we would do homework together in one of the study areas, so I was just like, when do you have free time and all that stuff? And he was like, bro, I got at 8 a.m. on a Saturday. And I was like, is this the Breakfast Club? Do you have detention? What's happening here? And he was just like, it's a class that is required, and I can't get out of it. And I can't do a substitute, nothing. And I said, well, you are not doing anything Friday nights. He's like, I know this is terrible. But yes, some kids, they will have class. But usually with Purdue, it's up to the professors. If they want to hold a Zoom call and take attendance, that is one thing I will say in college that I was not expecting for some professors. I always heard that when you go to college, it's on you. If you miss that class, you miss that class. I mean, the professor's already getting paid. You're just hurting yourself. But a lot of professors grade on attendance now. And if you miss 5 classes, you failed the class entirely. And even if it's you meet once a week or if you meet twice a week or 3 times, however many. So that was another thing. But with the e-learning, it's up to the professor if they hold a Zoom meeting or if they just say work on your current assignments that you have. Some of them are listed out in the syllabus. Others are like, hey, there's this big project that you have to turn in by the end of the semester. Just work on that. And that's really it. And when e-learning was first kind of introduced to us as students was when COVID happened and Zoom became like that bigger platform to use for it. Of course, it's going to be harder for students to want to kind of engage through the screens when they haven't really done that. And I, at least from my school, I was fortunate enough that we were given iPads. My class at Bishop Knoll around 2018 when we got in, that was when they were first introducing iPads. So they gave us the iPads, and we were fortunate enough to have that. Some kids, their school wasn't like on that level just yet, or it was reliant on if you had a phone, laptop, tablet at home. So I couldn't imagine like having to tell your parents like, hey, I need this piece of technology. What do you mean? You have like your books and everything. What else do you need? That quickly. So with the e-learning, it was just kind of like you just sat there. You weren't engaged with not only your class, but with the teacher. And it was just harder to learn through there. And it's really easy for kids to just say, okay, I'm going to log on, turn off my camera,
right,
and go do something else. I'm
Yeah,
not going to lie.
That's
I
literally
did that.
what I did the entire
I did
time.
that sometimes, yeah.
Well, and it was tough. So at least, once you get to that collegiate level, whether or not they take attendance, you are pretty much on your own. When we started, again, this all started with COVID. Liam was in preschool, kindergarten.
Wow.
And,
hold on.
And so we would
That had
have,
to be bad.
kindergarten, certainly preschool, but some kindergarten meets on the iPad. And this was before, since then now everybody, at least at like sort of Chromebooks, the big thing. Not
Yes.
iPads, Chromebooks are the big thing. But I mean, that was the COVID stopgap, though. That was the, hey, we're not having class for whatever reason, so we'll get on this Zoom and do some basic thing, and then it's, everything was an app, so do the stuff with which, again, if we've got any educators out there that want to call in and speak to this, as a parent, everything being on the Chromebook, quite literally everything, and we've been warned that, so Liam's in 4th grade now, he'll be going into middle school next year, that everything is on the Chromebook. Everything. And people want to say, well, kids can't read now. They can't interact. That's because it appears as if they're going to school and sitting in front of a laptop. And, we get notices 1 or 2 days before potential school closures. Like, your kid will come home with their Chromebook and log in at this time, log in at that time. No. First off, no. If they're not in school in the building, no. I can't. You can't possibly. The only reason that they will give that at least makes sense, but I don't agree with is, well, at least if we do it this way, it still counts as a day of education, and we don't have to tack on a day at the end of the year. If everybody remembers pre-COVID, if there was a snow day, they'd always build like a day or two into the schedule because you've got to get 180 or 181 days, whatever it is. And then some days, or some years, if there was a big snow week, you'd have to go an extra 2 or 3 days at the end of the year. But now it's, I just, educators, give us a call. I don't understand why now everything is tech. You wonder why kids can't read. You wonder why there's social emotional communication issues. and it's
Also for that.
and everything's a game. There's no
Yeah.
normal math anymore. It's all, hey, do it on this app, and it just drives me nuts.
Yeah, that, and also I feel like with having to give the kids technology so early on, not only it's like, yes, they're going to be glued to a screen, your eyesight's gonna suck unless you
yeah.
give the kids blue light glasses. But then what kid's gonna want to wear glasses that doesn't have to wear glasses?
Oh, and we've been around for how many thousands of years, and now all of a sudden we have an entire generation where it's like, you're 6, where's your blue blockers for the blue light? I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and then also when it comes to certain kids too, like some kids can learn very well on a screen. Others may have challenges, and especially for those who may be special needs too. For instance, I have a family member that they are on the special needs spectrum, and they are nonverbal.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are not within, like if their routine breaks, that's already an issue, because they have the routine that from these days through these days, I go to school at this time and I have this, I know these people that are in this classroom. That routine breaks, that's really challenging for them. And then also you expect them to sit there on a screen, but when they're at home, they're like, no, we do this, we do this, we do this when we're at home. So it's also very challenging depending on what like how the child is with technology when it comes to the education system, because it may seem like put them on screens, they're fine, they'll learn. But in reality, if they don't have that social interaction, that can be very difficult. Kids in my grade, even before COVID, even before the e-learning, already had time struggling socially. And then you put us on screens for a couple years.
Well, and I think
done.
that so this is aside from the Bob just hating e-learning days, one of the big problems with COVID that I see now, Liam was at that pivotal age when the COVID lockdowns happened, and they said, okay, all you kids stay home from school for forever. And now we're seeing what that development looks like as they're now in their late elementary school age. And you need social interaction. You need time on the playground. Schools already cut playground time or rough and tumble play. These things that actually help with development, as opposed to sitting in front of an iPad or a Chromebook for 7-8 hours a day. And that how many kids were then just locked away in a home?
Yeah.
That their parents had to go work because, again, not unlike today, and we'll go over the school closures here again in a minute at the bottom of the hour, is just because school's called off, not everywhere is called. So what are you going to do? So we now have this entire generation of kids. It's going to be one of the worst social experiments in history to say, hey, what happens when you lock kids away for 2-3 years at like prime social development age, and then see what happens to them. But then when we come out of it, we just stick them in front of a screen.
Do you think that if Liam wasn't in that preschool, kindergarten age, it would be more challenging, or was that more challenging?
That was rough because, up until about first grade is when you start to, what is that, 7, 8, 9 years old, 7, 8, that's when you start to learn social interactions. And where that kind of starts to get codified in your brain about how do I interact with other people. And when you don't have that gets pushed back to 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade. Well, the problem with that is, as you're getting into those prepubescent years of then going into middle school, I mean that's an entire middle school is awful, and we've got just a heartbreaking story that we'll talk about here shortly. But if you don't have some of those fundamental building blocks of how do I interact with the world around me, it's and I don't know how this turned into a COVID shutdown complaint thing. But,
that's where it's kind of started.
It is that's where all of this started, with the ease of schools saying, and maybe if there's a superintendent now who rolled their eyes and said, well, you think it's easy to call an e-learning day. May or may not be. We'll never know. Give us a call, 219-845-1100. But It does seem at relative ease to just say, it's an e-learning day because we don't have to make it up. The pressure on the teachers is you've got to have everything done. And
Do you ever tell Liam, back in my day, I had to go walk 6 miles in
uphill both ways
in 10 feet of snow just to see on the school that school's closed, piece of paper, and then I had to walk all the way back.
Well, no, I would never do that because I heard that whether or not they'd be closed here on WJOB.
There you go.
So if you want to read through the list again, and then
Wait,
that was a great segue.
I want to do some complaining of my own. I let
Go
you
ahead.
get specifically
did you hear
about
that?
Andrea.
He said, he goes, I let you guys talk. I let the host of the show
Exactly.
talk for a little.
I just
Welcome
want
to the
I want to
welcome to
complain
Chat Show.
about Andrean a little bit because we have the same principal, so he knows what I'm talking about. You sent us to school every day for 5 days a week during COVID. We were the only school in the region that
You
was
went to school during?
okay. Well, there was like the 2 weeks that they shut down. That
In
rest of that
March,
school
yeah.
year, like
Yeah,
your
that-
sophomore year, my junior year, I was in Illinois. But then once like the new school year started, like my senior year, your junior year,
Yes.
like we went to school every day, 5 days a week.
we went to school too.
You did? Every
Come
public school.
August, yeah.
Yeah, but it was like
When the public schools were down.
the public schools would like make it like optional and stuff like that. But the point is not actually us.
You guys
being-
didn't have that the
No,
option.
No,
to do
it was in
either
school
or?
no matter what. Everyone was in school no matter what 5 days a week, unless you obviously had COVID, right? Which is fine. Honestly, I liked it because we got the whole football season in. We didn't like lose a game or anything like that, so that was nice.
Because there was
But-
nobody else out on the field.
Yeah, that's why we won all those games, right? But no, the problem I have is that he didn't give us a homecoming or a prom, but he made us go to school all 5 days of the week for the entire school year.
So
with
if
masks.
anybody wants to throw Joe a prom and dance
Yes.
with them for a little bit
Please.
some evening,
If any of you guys have anybody my age, beautiful, rich, and a woman, please come dance
We're
with me
putting
for
Joe
my
on
prom.
a dating show.
yeah, that dating show, that could be a Saturday night thing.
all the middle-aged people send pictures of your children.
Yeah.
Please.
that are
So-
within Joe's age. That's so funny.
That's the only thing I wanted to complain
I'm surprised
about.
you guys didn't
since I
like
have a
have the
platform.
option though to do either virtual or
Nope.
in person, because that was one thing Bishop Knoll did for us, and they did it only for 1 year. That you had the option to go either in person and or be virtual for the entirety. And how they had it set up was that the teacher logged in on Zoom in the classroom on the big projector, all the speakers and everything. You had the kids on Zoom and you had the kids in the classroom. And we did that for a while, and then we didn't have a homecoming. They did have a prom, but it was kind of restricted. They didn't have prom until like June. And they had graduation through like the cars. You pulled up with your diploma, so they didn't have the stage where you walked because we had our graduation in the gym. So they didn't want to have all the heat and all the
We just did our
germs.
graduation outside.
Yeah, well, you guys
And we
had a
had it
nice
in
football
person.
field. Ours wasn't done yet.
We were on the track. If you ever been on the Andrean track,
Mm-hmm.
that thing is falling apart. Like, I'm surprised that nobody has.
Did every
broken
middle
an
school
ankle.
meet there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't, like, there's literally, like, chips in, like, the actual lanes, too. They're not even, like, just off the side. Like,
Yeah.
they need to fix those,
Yeah.
to be honest.
All right, well, it is 6:30, and we got to do station ID. You're listening to WJOB, the show, The Region Rundown with Bob and Adrianna, 12:30 a.m., 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana, the Strack and Van Til Studios, and also on YouTube. Do we want to take a break, or do we want to say the school closures?
Go with the school closure.
Let's do school closures real quick.
Okay.
We'll take a break, and we've got a caller. We'll get to them. Hang on, caller. We'll get to you in about 3 minutes.
All right, here's a list of the schools in alphabetical order, except for like the last few three, because those were announced later on.
Because you didn't hit sort on the Excel column. Yeah.
No, because those didn't post until probably like this morning. I did this at like 9 o'clock. Andrean High School, Bishop Knoll Institute, Crown Point Community, Duneland, Eagle Park Community, East Porter County Corporation, Gary Community School Corporation, Hanover Community School Corporation, Kankakee Valley, LaPorte Community School Corporation, Lake Central School Corporation, Lake Ridge New Tech Schools, Lake Station Community Schools, Maryville School Area, Michigan City School Area, MSD of Boone Township. Those are in Hebron, Portage Township, messing up my words there. Purdue University Northwest Hammond and Westville Campus, River Forest Community, School City of East Chicago, Hammond, Hobart, Whiting, School Town of Highland and Munster, South Central Community School Corporation, St. Paul Catholic School in Valparaiso, Tri Creek School Corporation, Valpo University, where all classes are suspended, normal campus operations will continue, Valparaiso Community Schools, as well as, let's see here, Hoover. I don't know how to pronounce this one because I was getting some hate in the comments. I don't know how to pronounce this one right here.
Which one?
That one.
Oh, that's in Illinois. Thoughts and prayers to Calumet City. I don't know what is probably a district number.
Yeah,
is that
school
like
district 157.
157.
Yes. Trinity Lutheran School in Hobart, Griffith Public Schools, Knox Community Schools, and then Chesterton United Methodist Church Preschool. And then these are the other areas as well. Ivy Tech Community College in Valparaiso and Michigan City. Here are some of the places that we know that will not be in service. Meals on Wheels of Northwest Indiana will not be delivering meals today for the safety of clients, volunteers, and staff. Porter County Government Offices and Courts, Porter County Expo Center, Banta Center, Bonnier, I believe, is that how you say that? Senior and Community Center. Porter County Aging and Community Services will be closed today and will resume on Monday. Valparaiso Compost Sites, Gabus Arboretum at Purdue Northwest. The Fish Fry for DeMont American Legion Post 440. And then you have some as well, some warming centers?
Yes, we've got the Riley Park Hall in East Chicago, Lincoln Center in Highland, Gene Shepherd Community Center in Hammond, Civic Center in Hammond, the Hammond Sportsplex, Cherville Town Court, Dyer Police Station. Those are warming shelters. If you have any, give us a call in. We're going to take a quick break right now, and then as soon as we get back, we're going to jump right into the calls.
Yep.
For over 140 years, the Central Midwest Carpenters have built our communities in Northwest Indiana. Are you ready to join the effort? We have long-term work, competitive pay, and the best benefits in the industry. We pride ourselves on innovative training and commitment to worksite safety. Earn as you learn as an apprentice. A solid career built on a solid legacy. For more info, go to carpenters.com.
Looking for a place to enjoy great food and great games? Head to Doc's Barbecue in Dyer. Indulge in Southern-style hickory smoked meats served in a fun, welcoming atmosphere. Want to catch the latest local Jet TV basketball games? Just ask and they'll have it on one of their 15 big-screen TVs. Whether you're here for the food, the fun, or the hoops, Doc's has something for everyone. Stop by Doc's Smokehouse on Calumet Avenue in Dyer, where flavor and sports come together.
For a fast and friendly car wash, go to Easy Clean Car Wash. Open 7 days a week in 4 convenient locations: Highland, Griffith, Cherville, and Lansing. Free vacuuming, air freshener, and a towel with every wash. It's fast, safe, and gentle. For more information and hours of all our locations, visit myeasyclean.com. Also, see how you can wash your car daily with our $10 Ultimate Wash for only $19.99 per month. Give your car the best clean at Easy Clean Car Wash.
Want to live life at max volume? Then look no further than Hard Rock Casino Northern Indiana. With over 1,700 slots, 80 table games, live entertainment, and 5 restaurants which span a wide range of culinary genres, we are sure to have something for everyone. Whether you want to indulge in a savory dish at Council Oaks Steaks and Seafood, or take in dinner and live music at the world-renowned Hard Rock Cafe. Amplify your entertainment experience at Hard Rock Casino Northern Indiana, just off Exit 6, I-8094. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9 with.
All right, welcome back to the Region Rundown. I'm Bob. We've got Adrianna here.
Good morning.
Let's hop right into the calls, Joe.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Oh,
Before you do
hang on.
that, traffic and weather. Sorry, gotta do that.
Cold and green, but go ahead.
Yeah. Traffic in the northwest region is looking pretty good. 80 going east and west is looking good. 90 going east and west is looking good as well. Chicago Skyways are looking pretty decent. No major traffic on those areas. The Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan connector is looking good. Stevenson going north and south is looking good. Eisenhower going east and west. We do have that accident that we mentioned a bit earlier has seemed to clear up. So not major traffic. 94 going east and west is looking pretty good as well. And then back in the northwest region, 65 going north and south is coming along great. So not much traffic. It's also because it is quite cold. And to speak on that cold, Joe.
Yes, it is very cold indeed. Let me make sure everything's on. All right.
You good.
So today it is right now a real feel of negative 24. Shouldn't get much colder, but it may in about an hour and a half. That's when I saw that it was supposed to reach the most cold. So yeah, around 8 o'clock, expect it to get a little colder, but it's not going to feel much worse. It's already pretty awful out today. And then on Saturday, we're going to start to get some snow. It is obviously going to continue to be really cold with a real feel of 5. And then you're going to get a little snow accumulation later in the afternoon. And then to round out the weekend on Sunday, you're going to have a high of 17, a real feel of 1, and then more continuous amounts of snow with about 1 to 3 inches. And that is your weather for the week.
All right.
All right. So oh, yeah, we do have callers.
Let's go to the first call, Joe.
First call.
Caller, you are on the air.
Good
What do you
morning.
have for us today?
Cold weather. Cold weather.
Do you have anything else? It is so cold. I think I remote start.
I do.
My car has you can remote start, but it only lasts for about 20 minutes. So when I got up this morning at 4, I remote started it, got out of the shower, restarted it again. It's just bitter.
Yeah. When you guys are talking about Chrome for all the students, they do everything on their Chrome thing,
Yeah.
When I was young, lived at home, and then I started growing up and going into school, and first thing, for example, when I was young, we started out with 8-track tapes, went to cassette, then went to CD, then Bluetooth and flash drives and all that stuff, and it's just like the schools. Everything just boom, boom, boom. Because, like, when our kids grew up and moved out and we had grandkids, we were over at her house one day, and she's showing me the laptop. She does all her work on that laptop thing.
Everything.
Well, thing is, when I was in school, our teachers would hand out a sheet to us. We had a number 2 pencil, hand out a sheet, and we had a sheet full of adding, subtracting, multiply, and divisions, and we had to do it manually. I wonder if people now that have kids that are about, in junior high or high school, if you give them a sheet of paper with addition, multiplication, all that stuff on a piece of paper and give them a number 2 pencil, could they actually do that or not? Because you push a button on a laptop, hit a add plus, and boom, it's done. I mean, is that really learning?
Well, so I'm in my mid 40s, and I can specifically remember growing up. They would tell you, well, what do you think, you're going to have a calculator in your pocket for the rest of your life? And it's like, well, I have the entirety of human knowledge in my pocket. So I don't know how much that changes learning. But you said, do you have any kids that are in middle school, junior high, whatever it is? My boy, he's in the last year of elementary school. Elementary school ends at 4th grade, which I think is atrocious, but that's what it is. And this year he'll come home with some paper homework. But when it comes down to it, they carry this Chromebook everywhere, and so much of it is on there. And like I said, this is one of the more scary social experiments that I think we've seen, is what will these kids be like in 10 years when they've just, had their nose in a computer that whole time.
Yeah, I would say that I do remember in at least grade school and a little bit within high school getting like the sheets of paper, write out number 2 pencils. But the only thing with that, you're given that. I remember being able, like, I'd have to ask my parents, like, help with math and everything. I can't imagine having a child come up to me saying, can you help me with my math? Because I'm going to do the math that I know, and they're going to do the fancy little math that they have now. I don't know what kind of math you guys have now.
This new math?
No. What happened to just it's add straight down. Now they're putting everything in groups. I'm like, you guys are making this too complex.
Because, like, when I was in school, my parents every year had to pay book rental, and we had about 4 or 5 books we brought home every day, did our paperwork. We had to read. We didn't just hit a button and go to that subject, this whole world just changes every second with the technology that does. But the thing is what happens if the computers just went away? It's just like, when you go in the grocery store shopping, the lady at counter, she just scans your item, blah. Would really know how to add up? If you had a shopping cart full of groceries, would she know how to keep adding it up and add it up? It's scary, the technology is kind of good because, I use it. I do a lot of reading and stuff, but like me, I drove a truck for 44 years. And when I'm driving down the road, like say I'm going to go to Southern Illinois, okay, I look at the mile marker I'm at. I look at the mile marker where I'm going to end at. In my head, I can calculate, because I know what the speed of my truck, and I can calculate, bam, real quick, how long it's going to take to get there. Unless, guess what? I have a flat tire. Then guess what? The tire causes me to recalculate.
Well, yeah, how much of that are kids able to do in their head now? I suppose you could argue, well, why should they have to? They have a phone, and it's okay. I suppose you can make an argument that it's it's there. It's so I don't know it.
Yeah. But I'm gonna let somebody else talk on the show this morning.
Appreciate it. Sounds good.
I really enjoy listening to you, but the thing is being because of this extremely cold weather, make sure you check on everybody, la-di-da-da, and all this stuff, and don't let your dogs and household pets be out long, and if they are and there's salt on the ground, watch their paws, and I knew it was getting cold last night because I was laying on the couch watching a movie and I covered up, and I got a little 8-pound dog. She never gets under my throw thing that I put on me. Well, she went and crawled underneath it, turned around, and stuck her head out, so I knew it was getting cold. But just to everybody that's listening and everybody, check on other people. You see somebody that needs to get somewhere where it's warm, just
help them out.
One thing is we all got to work together and just help each other out and make sure everybody's safe and secure on a day like today.
Hey, thanks for calling.
Thank you so much.
Stay warm.
Yep.
All right, we're going to go to the next caller. So, caller, you are on the air. What do you have to this morning for us?
Well, you had mentioned if you're an educator or a previous educator, maybe you want to call in and weigh in on.
Yes, absolutely. And even
Bob,
if you disagree, well, I'm looking forward to conversations.
Bob, I'm a little over 10 years older than you. Retired not terribly long ago, and so I've seen the process of how it started and ended, and the way it's still going on. Almost everyone's closed today.
You're right.
And most are doing it in some form of virtual, or if they don't have the computers, some form of packets or whatever. And my opinions have changed on this, because when you teach older students, especially like seniors, you don't want them to have to come back to school after Memorial Day, particularly if your calendar is going to be done before that, because when you see test scores, they're tremendously different and not for the good. I would suggest, because the state gives you 3 waiver days, maybe you start off with the 3 waiver days. Therefore, kids can have traditional snow days or cold days and just be kids. And then you're not fighting that battle, because they do give you those 3 days. And some schools use them first.
Right.
And then, obviously, a lot of schools are one-to-one, where they all have some form of technology. If it's a Chromebook or if it's a iPad, you can do it that way. And if you do it more than 2 days in a row, I'm telling you, you're kind of wasting your time. What you're doing is making sure you don't have to bring the kids back later. And I would say some superintendents use that, because guess who you're not having to pay? And you save money. You don't have to pay bus drivers. You don't have to pay the cafeteria workers. Oftentimes you don't have to pay the aides. There are schools, the really good schools in the region, they say, no, we're going to make those days up. And some of the other schools, not as good. They think you're going to do a whole lot of learning that way. But you can get some things accomplished, but I don't think you should ever go more than 2 days in a row if you're going to use it. But maybe use the waiver days. I mean, you have a situation where, as Adrianna said, you'd have kids that try to, turn off their screen. I was very clear. I said, fine, you're marked absent today if you're not on the screen. So I give them a couple chances to get back on, because it's not going to work that way. You're just jumping through the hoops. And unfortunately, the state is screwed up because they want to talk about graduation rates. And I think you're better off going by test scores, because some schools, they're too worried about graduation rate. Even if a kid, in the old days, sometimes it's okay to fail a class and make it back up in the protection of your school, so kids can learn to, as Trucker Mike said, how to add things up if they decide they're working at the convenience store as the cashier. Probably about 15 years ago, where Anderson Cooper got his, he got to start way longer than that. It's called Channel 1. It used to pop up on inner classrooms, at a certain time. And the schools like in the Napa Valley, where the parents, Silicon Valley, where the parents are creating the technology, at that point, they were eliminating the technology in their classroom because they wanted their kids to learn how to do things, the way paper and pencil, to do how to create things that way. And that shocked me, because everyone else was going technology, but the people creating technology in their schools, they didn't want that. And right now, as you know, Bob, at the state level, they're trying to make it even tighter about kids and cell phones. And cell phones in schools are the worst thing that ever happened.
Right.
And by getting rid of these cell phones in the buildings, they're talking about not even lunchtime. The issue is they do have rules. Unfortunately, there are some administrators, there are some teachers who do not enforce it at all, especially with their ear pods in and everything else. I would like to say I think students today probably write better than they used to. With mathematical skills, I'm a little concerned. I think the schools who decide the limit of the technology, the kids will operate the best. What say you, Bob?
A handful of points there. One with the math. You had talked about, some of the older kids, and you get junior, senior year in high school. I wonder if there shouldn't be a multi-pronged attack on this. My experience is only up to, like I said, my boy, he's in 4th grade, and so that's the extent of my experience. Where e-learning, just in general, has I don't see the benefit of it. I think long-term technology use is maybe not as advantageous as it's promoted to be. That could also just be my kid, where so he's in Lake Central, and all those classes are 700-800 classes, 700-800 kids. So yeah, you're going to have a variety of folks, but I have just not had a very positive experience with e-learning, all of the technology in general. This is a passion project for me. My real job is I'm a pipeline safety engineer, and I remember I think Liam was in second grade. I ended up sending in my business card with a sheet with one of his math things, and I said, look, I'm an engineer, and I can't teach him the math this way. I think they need to have some remedial classes for parents to teach us how they're teaching the kids, because they want that. But I do have some of those concerns about. And it could just be an ignorant concern. That wasn't how I was taught. And so, I go back to that. This is going to be an experiment. And
do they still
we'll
give
see.
them like flashcards?
No.
Really?
We make our own flashcards at home, which is, but no, we.
That's not even required on like the school supply list? That's interesting. Huh.
Some schools at the elementary, they will do something equivalent to flashcards.
Mm-hmm.
They have different names for things. The one I was familiar with is called Rocket Math, and you could, print them off maybe at home or whatever and practice with your child. And some do. And, sad thing is in society, there are parents who do that. And unfortunately, there are times when the kids get older, they're the more squared away one in the home compared to the parent. Just societal struggle. Then we have a lot of, unfortunately, grandparents raising their children now.
I've seen a lot of that just in the community where for a lot of families, it is a community effort to raise a kid, because you've got two-income households, and they're off doing their thing that they need to do, because evidently we've decided we need to live in a world where the only way you can survive is to have two parents, whether that's a two-income household, and it's tough. So you see a lot of grandparents working. There have been times where I'm working, my wife is working, and Liam has an e-learning day, and it's like, oh, you just can't do it because you're going to go to Grandpa's house, and that that's not a burden we're going to place on extra community. So it's tough. I do want to say one thing. You'd mentioned about cell phones in the school, and this was just a little quip that I saw. I have zero opinion on this. It's not been a thing, but something must have been going on in Indianapolis, like you said, where they're trying to tighten some of that down. And someone made a comment. They said, "What about the teachers on their cell phones?" And like I said, I have zero comment on this because I'm not in the classroom. I don't know if that's a thing, but I wonder if that is a thing. Do we have at the risk of I don't want to knock any teachers, but
that is a problem.
Yeah,
I can verify. I saw colleagues on their phones. They have no business to be on their phones, just like the students, and that's part of the problem. There's this big push to get teachers. And how do I say it? Years ago, you would see people come out and they kind of understood how things were done, but the technology wasn't there for them to use. I mean, I'm not talking about the days of the abacus. I never learned how to use the math on abacus, but you also were groomed by older teachers. And right now, when an older teacher would suggest to the younger teacher, hey, probably I'd recommend not doing this or do this at a different time, they know better than you, and so therefore they kind of do their own things. And the problem is, you've got to get administrators who want to be administrators, who have to hold the people accountable as opposed to just collecting a paycheck. And when you have schools, the state says there's certain things, such as you have to turn children in to your level of the court system or whatever, or their parents when they start missing more than 10% of days. And you have students in schools that allow kids to miss way more than that, or they count a kid being present if they show up for one day of school. You've got a problem. And I think the State House really needs to change things, or I should say the General Assembly, and say you get paid per class hour that the student's there. Because if you look at some of the schools in Northwest Indiana and the percentage of class periods to the kid's backside sitting in the seat, it's not as high as it should be. Unfortunately, there is a legislator. She passed a law a year or two ago which schools cannot kick students out for excessive days, which I understand the idea is to teach them, but it's hard to teach someone who's not there. And the other issue is a lot of the people who work down in Indianapolis for us, they are business people. Would they keep those people on as employees? There's zero accountability like there used to be. And yeah, I'm sounding like grandpa down the street and stay off my lawn. But there is some things to learn from the greatest generation, our grandparents who fought World War II or whatever. They got it. And somehow we've lost that, and we're not allowing our students to fail. You can learn by failing. You don't want them to fail, and we have all the resources in the world for them not to, but if they're just unwilling to do it. I had a businessman once say to me, and it shocked me, and this is before COVID, said, "Hey, what you said is not very good." I go, "What do you mean? They can't show up every day and they can't show up on time." I started thinking, isn't that the basis of anything in society? And any administrators, you're out there listening to me, if you're a school and you allow your kids to show up in pajamas every day, how are you preparing them for the workforce? That's pathetic.
I couldn't agree more. There was a conversation here on WG, I think,
about shopping in a grocery store in your pajamas.
About just this lackadaisical, push on life now that, you can't. And the problem is, and we're approaching the top of the hour, caller. So I appreciate you calling in and giving your insight. We're going to take a break here in a second. But to that, you're not doing anybody any favors by letting them, by allowing them to not show up but count them, allowing everybody just showing up in pajamas, just this whole hand everybody everything. It's there's the it's a men thing, so don't send your letters in.
Awards.
But it's the strong men create good times create weak men create bad times create good men. I see that as a trend, as if we're just figuring out ways to just push everybody along. I don't know how good that is long term. So, but thank you for calling in. We're going to take a break here at the top of the hour, and we will be back with news, weather, traffic, closures, warming shelters, and a few more calls.
Everything above. Yep. Keep listening.
If you're thinking of finishing your basement, installing outdoor security cameras, or your business has plans to break ground on a new project in 2024, Powering Indiana, Lake County is your source for the region's best electricians. With IBEW, Local 697 electricians, you're choosing the highest level of safety and reliability. Visit poweringindiana.org today and ensure your project is in the hands of skilled professionals.
Embrace every opportunity. At Indiana University Northwest, you'll research alongside experts, develop career-ready skills, and accomplish your lifelong dreams. Whatever your goal may be, achieve it here close to home at IU Northwest, right here in the region. Join us for a life-changing learning experience at the best priced university in Northwest Indiana. It all begins at northwest.iu.edu. Bring on tomorrow at Indiana University Northwest.
Teen parents face overwhelming challenges, but with the right support, they can build bright futures for themselves and their children.
Mental Health America's ETAP program provides education, mentorship, and resources to help young parents graduate.
Right now, your donation goes twice as far. Thanks to a generous match, every dollar given up to $30,000 is doubled, but only until March 31st.
Scan the QR code, visit mhanwi.org, or mail your check to ETAP Match today.
Truck drivers, have you been searching for a more reliable driving job? Get the paychecks and predictability you need as a Schneider driver. Schneider's large selection of driving jobs means you can get the home time that suits your schedule. Choose from daily, weekly, monthly, or sometime in between. Plus, Schneider drivers have access to great benefits with a 401k match and a 24/7 support team. Get the keys to a better driving job. Search openings near you and apply now at schneiderjobs.com.
Welcome back, region. It is 7:02 here on WJOB. I sound like a frog. My word.
I got you. Go ahead, take a drink.
Yeah, Adrianna, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. You are listening to the Region Rundown with Bob and Adrianna on WJOB, 1230 AM, 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana. And you're also watching live on YouTube. We are going to go through the school closures as well as any other facilities that may be closed and or warming shelters. But first, we are going to take a look at traffic and weather. And again, traffic is looking pretty good. Northwest region, 80 going east and west is looking good. 65 going north and south is looking good. 90 going east and west is looking good. Chicago Skyway, toll roads are looking good. The Borman, Dan Ryan, the connector going up into Chicago is looking good. Lakeshore Drive, Stevenson, and the Stevenson and Eisenhower going north and south, and Eisenhower going east and west is looking pretty good. We're not seeing really any traffic. 94 going east and west up by the city, and the airports are looking pretty good. And there's not really much traffic as it is quite cold outside. And to speak on the cold, Joe.
Hey, hang on. I do have one thing from 511in.org.
Oh, yeah. What you got?
It does look like on 80 eastbound between Colfax and Burr, INDOT's reporting a vehicle fire. It doesn't look like it's causing any traffic issues, but that was as of about 20 minutes ago. That was updated from INDOT.
Chicago.
Vehicle fire between Colfax and Burr, eastbound on 80.
Yes. So, ABC 7 hasn't picked that up yet.
What do you got, Joe?
Okay, what do I have? I have
Will the
weather
cold
about
bring down the fire?
Yep. So today it is going to hit a high of -1, so that's great. It's a real feel of 24 out right now. It is going to get a little bit colder, not much, somewhere between -26 and -30. So stay inside as much as you can, bundle up, stay warm. Saturday, it's actually changed a little bit from when we started this morning. We're supposed to get 1 to 3 inches of snow now on Saturday as well as Sunday, so it is going to be a pretty big storm rolling in this weekend. It's going to be a high of 11 with a real feel of 5, and then Sunday, like I said, the storm will continue with more accumulation, about 1 to 3 inches, a high of 17, and a real feel of 1. And that's your weather for the rest of the week.
Sounds good. We did just get an update here. It looks like it was a semi-fire. Fire appears to be out, but crews are still doing their thing. So just a heads up, folks. Mile marker 6 near the Burr, 894 and Burr, heading eastbound, and that'll be region news.
Yep.
And
want to
not
go
ABC.
through. Yeah, I was gonna say ABC. Come on, what we doing? Usually we're pretty reliable.
So thanks, Paul Goddard, for some updates on that.
Ooh, thank you. All right, and then we are going to go through the list of school closures as well as
Next
other
time
facilities.
it gets like this, I think what we're going to do is we're just going to find the 3 places in Northwest Indiana that are open.
Yes.
Rather than spend
Everything
a half hour
that's
talking
closed.
about closures. But yeah, let's go over the
Let's
closures.
go through those. Anybody listening? We're going to go through the schools first, and then any places that are closed with their facilities. Andrean High School, Bishop Knoll Institute, Crown Point Community, Duneland, Eagle Park Community, East Porter County, Gary Community, Hanover Community, Kankakee Valley, LaPorte Community, Lake Central Corporations, Lake Ridge New Tech, Lake Station Community, Maryville Community, Michigan City area, MSD of Boone Township, those are in Hebron, Portage Township, Purdue University Northwest in Hammond and Westville, River Forest Community, School City of East Chicago, Hammond, Hobart, and Whiting, School Town of Highland and Munster, Self School, South Central Community School Corporation, St. Paul Catholic School in Valparaiso, Tri Creek School, Valpo University, Valparaiso Community Schools, as well as Trinity Lutheran School, that is in Hobart, Griffith Public School, Knox Community Schools. I just got a text. Don't fret, everybody. Butterfingers will be open at 9:30 a.m. in Munster.
Well, there you go.
Chesterton United Methodist Church Preschool, and Ivy Tech Community College in Valparaiso and Michigan City. These are the facilities that are closed. Meals on Wheels in Northwest Indiana will not be delivering meals today. Porter County Government Office and Courts, Porter County Expo Center, Bansa Center, Bonnier Senior and Community Center, Porter County Aging and Community Services, Valparaiso Compost Site, Gabus Arboretum at Purdue Northwest, and the fish fry for DeMont American Legion Post 440 has been canceled.
A quick rundown of some of the warming shelters. East Chicago, you've got Riley Park Hall. Highland, you've got Lincoln Center. Hammond has 3 listed, Gene Shepherd Community Center, Civic Center, Hammond Sports Complex, the Cherville Town Court, the Dyer PD. Those are warming shelters. I had a note here before this YouTube commenter said this. I had a note here. How are you going to call it Hebron, but not Hobart? Hebron, right?
Hebron? Okay,
Hebron.
sorry. I'm trying my bestest.
No. But because I was listening for...
I always hear... I hear both. That's why I hear Hebron and I hear Hebron.
Well, what I was listening for was, everybody... It's Hobart, but, folks, when they read it, they say Hobart because, that's how it's spelled. But you said Hobart right. And I was like... Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just... dialect.
that could be it. We've got a caller, but before we get into anything else, let's go ahead and take the call and see what you have to say. Caller, you are on the air.
Good morning.
How are you surviving the cold weather today? You guys got in on time. What's your secret?
Getting up at 4:05 in the morning and starting the car several times.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah, y'all may roll your eyes at this. I did not think it was that bad. I mean, if you're watching YouTube, I'm in a big hoodie and that's all I've got on. But again, I'm not a coat guy because I always figure I'm just ever going from the car to the door. I'm never just standing outside, so I don't often have a bulky coat with me. Yes, it was cold, but the car was running, so I just ran outside. I would imagine that, especially with all these closures, the big issue is getting all those buses started, knowing that, there's no sense in having a 10-year-old stand outside waiting for the bus in this weather. So I'll get that. But,
Right.
For the most part, we don't have some of those awful winter conditions that go along with this cold at this moment. So I made the long trek north from Dyer. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Listening to interesting conversations about education, and the gentleman that you just talked to, the last caller you talked to, mentioned something that I've read about, in that in these high-tech centers on the West Coast, that the parents are disinclined to want to expose their kids to a lot of high tech, and they're putting them into private schools where there's a emphasis is return to the good old days, where there was strong emphasis on hard learning, not using calculators or anything like that, and that they wanted their kids to have a good mastery of basic math and English and so forth. And when you have rich people like that do things, that's probably a good reason for the rest of us to follow it, don't you think?
Well, it is telling that if you have the the hub, the mothership of technology, and they're saying no, you need to get a scratch pad and some pencils. You almost wonder, are they onto something? I can tell a distinct difference in my son when he physically is writing something down versus when it is just on technology. We'll do a thing, whether we get, we'll take spelling words, for example. Whether he gets the assignment or not, we will take the time on a sheet of paper. We'll write all, 23 spelling words, 20 spelling words, 3 extra credit words, and we then make him write it 3 times each. We do that several times a week, and that's just on our own because I can't possibly think of a way, especially if you're just saying technology, that's going to be better for him to learn how to spell these words. You simply have to write the word multiple times, and over time you then learn how words are spelled, so you get to a point where maybe you don't know how that word is spelled, but you know how words are spelled, and you just can't do that by clicking something on a tablet or whatever.
And it certainly promotes the basic writing skills.
Oh yeah, I remember writing my spelling words 5 times each. You write them 5 times each, and then once you learn cursive, write them in cursive 5 times each.
Yeah. Liam, he gets so irritated sometimes because every once in a while they'll take a pre-test at the beginning of the week, and you're not expected to do well on a pre-test. That's the whole point of the pre-test, to see where your deficiencies are. And sometimes when he does really well on those, maybe we'll just make him write it twice. But there's other times when, man, every day, you got to write it. And same with math. When he does come home with math homework, when it's not on the Chromebook, he is better when he has to. He's doing decomposing fractions now, and a lot of it is. Yeah.
Me and Joe looked at each other like, wait a minute, what are those again?
Yeah, there's fourth grade, but it's fantastic where it's, if it's, say, 2 2/3, he'll have to draw 2 boxes or 3 boxes with the last one, being fractioned off. And so there's a visual component to it, but he still has to physically do it. And there's just something to that I don't think you can beat.
Why have I never heard of decomposing fractions?
We might have called it something else.
I put in a 20-year tour duty as a business professor, teaching mainly quantitative courses. And during that 20-year period, I was astonished that math skills kept getting worse and worse and worse. The students had to be at least 25, and we had many people in their 40s and 50s. I had one student in his 60s. They had to have business experience and so forth, and it was really interesting to hear these folks talk about people who they were managers and complain about the lack of basic skills of reading, writing, and doing math. And when I left the military, I went it was almost like a lateral move from corporate Navy to corporate headquarters in downtown Chicago. And I was just astonished as to the poor math skills of the people in business. I mean, I was called in to the this guy was a vice president in charge of marketing. And he said, I'd like you to compute the update the sales skills for the sales goals for the field sales force. It was headquartered in Chicago, but it was a national operation. And I said to him, well, I'm assuming that you would like to adjust it according to inflation, official inflation numbers. He said, yes. I said, well, what do you want to use? He said, the last official thing I've seen was 3.2% inflation. I said, okay. And so I did the work, and I came back about 2 hours later, and I said, there it is. He looked at me, and he said, how did you do that so fast? I said, it was not that difficult a thing. He said, well, what exactly did you do? I said, well, I basically just multiplied the old number by 1.032. That's it. He said, don't you have to do more? I said, no, unless you were to make mistakes. And the typical business guy, middle-level manager and above, I mean, they pretty much knew percents, but they were very shaky. And as a business professor, one of the things I emphasized was basic math skills. In other words, adding, subtracting, and multiplying and dividing, because most of the things that would be applicable in the business setting, and you don't need calculus or high-level statistics, but if the student could master measures the central tendency, percent, compute standard deviation and understand what it means, chi-square, and be able to read a normal curve and so forth, understand what that means and so forth. If you mastered those things in the normal business situation, they'd be calling you Einstein. That the general math skills are generally so weak, and in that 20-year period, it kept going lower and lower. And what I found was the older students had learned their math the old-fashioned way. They were the best. Their math skills were the best compared to the young people. Ditto when it came to doing writing assignments. I mean, I had teaching a class in DuPage County, which is an expensive territory, and I gave this assignment for people to write a paper on about like a page or two kind of thing, which is kind of a standard memo in business. And I said, it's like a term paper. And these young people looking at me like, what? I said, don't you understand what a term paper is? No, never heard of it. And the older people in the class went, what? Are you joking?
Yeah.
You have no idea what a term paper is? They were just stunned. I mean, there's been a movement away from basic skills, and you can tell it in terms of just dealing with people in general. I think the public schools need to tighten up on basic skills and get away from DEI and social consciousness and cultural competency and all the rest of that crap, and go back to an emphasis on the academic basics. And oh, by the way, public school teachers are more likely to enroll their children in private schools where those basic things are applied. How about that?
I wonder if that's not too dissimilar from the conversation we started with. That, again, isn't it interesting that these titans of technology, want their kids in a place that is has a good portion of that technology stripped away from them. Hey, thanks for calling in. We're going to wrap up a few things before we hit to the bottom of the hour. Hey, you have a good weekend, bud. Thanks for calling. Stay warm. You are listening to Region Rundown here on WJOB. I'm Bob. Adrianna's with me here. We got Joe in the producer booth. We are trying something new on Fridays, and so we'll just see how that goes, because why not? Let's do traffic and weather real quick, and then we'll take our break and come back to calls. If you've got any closures, any warming center updates, anything you want to update us on, anything you want to talk about, because as my good friend Chuck will say, if you don't call in and talk, you've got to listen to us. So 219-845-1100. Let's check out the traffic and weather.
Currently, right now, in the Northwest region, traffic is actually looking pretty good. 65 going north and south is looking good. 80 going east and west is looking good. Do we have any updates on that vehicle fire that was on 80 right there by Burr?
Nothing on the interwebs.
Nothing? Okay. So 80 going east and west is going along swimmingly.
It doesn't look like it's causing any issues.
Yeah. Chicago Skyway is looking pretty good. Borman, Dan Ryan, connector going to Chicago is looking good. Lakeshore Drive is looking good. Stevenson Expressway going north and south is looking pretty good. No heavy traffic at all on those. Eisenhower Expressway going east and west is looking good as well. 94 going east and west up by the city and the airports are all coming along nicely. In terms of weather, we got Joe vibing out.
Yeah, keeping myself awake. So today, it is the coldest day of the week, probably the year. It's going to be a high of -1, and right now it's a real feel of -24. It should raise a little bit to like -26, maybe -30 if it gets really bad, but it's not getting any warmer today. Saturday, it will get a little bit warmer, but with that comes a snowstorm. So there's going to be about 1 inch to 3 inches of accumulation from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. tomorrow. Honestly, we're supposed to get even more snow on Sunday, so I kind of expect it to just lighten up and probably go through the night into Sunday, where you're supposed to get another 1 to 3 inches in the morning with a high of 17 and a real feel of 1 degree. And that is your weather for the rest of the week.
There we go. Did we want to say all the closures real quick and then we just jump in?
Yeah, we can do that real quick. I'm experimenting with I've been told there's a text service to find warming shelters, and I'm just playing with that here to see how that works.
All right, so we're going to go through the school closures as well as any other facilities that may have been closed real quick before we get into the break. Starting off with Andrean High School, Bishop Knoll Institute, Crown Point Community, Duneland, Eagle Park Community, East Porter County, Gary Community, Hanover Community, Kankakee Valley, LaPorte Community, Lake Central School Corporations, Lake Ridge New Tech, Lake Station Community, Maryville area, Michigan City area, MSD of Boone Township, Portage Township, Purdue University Northwest and Westville Campus, River Forest Community Schools, School City of East Chicago, Hammond, Hobart, and Whiting, School Town of Munster and Highland, South Schools, South Central Community School, St. Paul Catholic School, Valparaiso, Tri-Creek School Corporation, Valparaiso University, Valparaiso Community Schools. Let's see here. Going back up to where
that's great radio, by the way. That's
hey, I mean it's not
dead air.
It's not gym language, but anything better than dead air. We have Hoover Memorial School District 157 in Cal City, as well as all of the Chicagoland schools that are closed. Trinity Lutheran School in Hobart, Griffith Public Schools, Knox Community Schools, Chesterton United Methodist Church Preschool. We have here Ivy Tech Community College in Valparaiso and Michigan City. And then these are the facilities that are closed alongside with those. Meals on Wheels of Northwest Indiana will not be delivering meals today. Porter County government offices and courts, Porter County Expo Center, Bansa Center, Bonnier Senior and Community Center, Porter County Aging and Community Services will be closed from Friday and will resume normal business hours on Monday. Valparaiso Compost Sites, Gabus Arboretum at Purdue Northwest, and as well as the fish fry for DeMont's American Legion Post 440 has been canceled for today. What we got on your side? Has the experiments gone well?
It has and it hasn't here. So I'm looking. There's an email from the state that it looks like you starting from 8 to 5 available Monday through Friday. You can text your zip code to 898-211 and get information on warming shelters that way. There's also a database of warming shelters at in211.org. So check those out. That's why I've been poking around, and they've got all sorts of resources on that. So
see, listening through like all the things and talking about the weather and everything, it just reminds me of one thing before we go to break. There was a phone number, I don't remember it anymore, I used to have it memorized, where you would call in and they would give you the time, date, and weather.
Yeah.
And it was a very like robotic voice. It updated every single day, no matter what time you called. And we would call that in the morning to know what the temperature was outside. And during the holidays, like, parents have their way of making sure their kids behave for Santa Claus, of course.
Uh-huh.
And my mom said that if we misbehaved, she would call Santa Claus. Now, of course, there's the actual number out there for any children listening. There is. But my mom did not have that actual number. So what she did was she put the weather service and put Santa Claus in her phone and showed us, I'm going to call. And if we ever hit that call button, all hope would have been out the window. We're like, hold on. You actually don't have his phone number. You actually don't know who he is.
I got to tell you, so much of parenting is little white lies to find compliance with the kids.
Especially, it's like, what do you mean the butterfly died? No, the butterfly, he just went for a walk.
Yeah.
He just went for a walk. But we're going to take a quick short break. You are listening to the Region Rundown with Bob and Adrianna on WJOB 1230 AM 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana, here at the Strack and Van Til Studios and live on YouTube. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Do you like to work with your hands, creating something from nothing? Then think about Laborers Local 41. You'll get 432 hours of apprenticeship training, all while earning a wage with benefits and incurring no student debt. You'll travel to different job sites, learn tons of skills, and in a lot of cases, be the first one on and last one off a job site. It all starts at laborers41.com.
Before Notre Dame Federal Credit Union, we were being charged various maintenance fees and various check writing fees for all of our accounts. And with Notre Dame, we don't have that. We have that true community partnership. We get interest based on all of our parish and school accounts, and the interest rate is really second to none.
When life takes you places and you can't get to the store, shop online with Strack and Van Til To Go. Our to-go service is easy to use, and it can save you time and money. Once your order is in, our own Strack and Van Til team preps your order with care. For delivery or pickup, enjoy the convenience of letting our to-go team shop for you. Enjoy your special moments. Sign up online today at shop.strackandvantil.com.
Ogren Insurance, Hammond's oldest family-owned independent insurance agency, now in its third generation providing clients in the Chicago area with products from quality insurance companies to handle your every need. Regardless of driving history, Ogren Insurance can find the right coverage for you at competitive prices. To learn more about the insurance solutions and services we offer throughout Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan, call 219-933-0076 or visit our website, ogreninsurance.com. We're located at 6929 Homan Avenue in Hammond, Indiana. Do business locally with someone you know and trust.
Welcome back to Region Rundown here on WJOB 1230 AM 104.7 FM. I am Bob. Next to me is Adrianna. We got Joe over there working the
working the dials.
Working the dials. Yeah, there we go. What a wide shot that is.
Hi guys. How you doing?
Family
photo.
We've spent most of the morning talking about the weather and closures, and we'll update that again at the top of the hour in case something happened. If you know of something going on, or if you've got anything you want to talk about, give us a call at 219-845-1100. Looks like we do have a caller, so we can jump right into that. Hello, caller. You are on the air with us.
The voice.
How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing well, but evidently I feel fine, but evidently I sound like a frog this morning. So apologies to all those folks
Maybe
wondering.
you need to go to Frogsville.
Yeah, yes.
So, Bob, sounds like Joe Cimino might need an e-learning day himself.
Yes, he does. He's spilling coffee on himself. He came in here wearing a parka.
By the way.
But
there's a reason I happen to say that, by the way.
What you got?
So ask Joe, what do temperatures tend to do if they go from 24 below to 30 below?
Well, wait, hold on. He just stepped out for a phone call, so we're gonna wait. I don't know what he did. Joe, you abandoned us. How dare you?
Yeah, he left us.
He doesn't love us anymore.
My guess is he's going to have a look on his face like, I don't know. And I don't know if that's because he doesn't know, or if it's because Joe's brain works differently, I think, pre 8 a.m. versus post 8 a.m. And it sounds like if you know him, you could probably verify that.
Yeah. Well, before we'll wait for Joe to come back. But anything else on your mind, caller, that you would like to talk about with us?
But yeah, my little bit about. Well, let me say this much: it's when it's going from 24 below to 30 below on a temperature scale. That temperature is not raising or rising, as he cares to put it, if you will.
Oh,
that
raising
temperature
and
is dropping like a rock.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We can bust him for it just because the number's bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joe, put the headset back on because somebody
Joe,
wants to
Joe,
talk
we
to
are-
you.
we're-
Thinking absolute value. If he's thinking absolute value, that's one thing. But
All right,
but I don't
he's
think he
able to
was
hear you
thinking
now.
absolute value.
He's able to hear you now.
Hello.
How you doing, Joe?
I'm good. What's going on?
So, tell me, Joe, what do temperatures do when they drop from 24 below to 30 below?
What do you mean? What is the temperature? It gets colder. Is that the answer that you're looking for?
Well, yeah, but you were saying something earlier about when you was talking about the numbers, you were talking about them rising.
Yeah.
Or
So
raising.
you would say it's negative 20 outside, and it's rising to negative 30. But in fact, when the negatives, you're dropping. So
Yes, I understand. Yes, it's technically colder.
Technically
it's gonna be freezing either way. So I guess it doesn't.
You were just like so giddy. You're just like, somebody wants to talk to me.
As Jim would say, it's as what Jim Delo would say, but cold out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't know. Maybe he did an experiment one day, and then that's where that phrase came from.
Yeah, it could be
Interesting.
Probably just tried to sit in the toilet in our
Probably
studio.
stuck his butt out or something. Love you, Jimmy, but I think you stuck your butt out one day, and that's how you discovered it was butt cold out there.
He probably did. Well, caller, thanks for calling in. I can't tell you how much.
Yeah, you Dave calling in from Evanston, Illinois this morning.
Oh, really?
Thank you very much.
It's Dave from Griffith.
Yep.
Formerly
of Griffith.
Formerly of
now
Griffith.
in Evanston.
I can't tell you how much we appreciate you calling in and including Joe. I think that made his day.
Yeah, not a lot of people call for me. It's thank you, Dave from Evanston.
so thanks for throwing him some change on that. Appreciate that. You have a good one. We got another
Alrighty.
caller.
Well, good morning, caller. You are on the air.
Good morning. Public service announcement. The fur on your parka is not for decoration. If you turn it inside out, it actually adds a warming insulation to your head.
There was a reel or a story or whatever you want to call it on social media, and they were teaching folks that because you'll see a lot of the ladies wear the fur on the outside of their hood because it's a more of a fashion statement, but it's like no, you fold that in and it protects your entire face.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Public service announcement. Stay warm, everybody.
I appreciate
There you
that.
go. Thank you. Yeah. When it's cold like this, and I remember when we would get. Yeah, you're good. When it's cold like this, and of course, snow's outside. Right now, we don't have too much snow to where you can build like forts and snowmen and all that. But even with the very bitter cold, I always think I'm gonna walk out and I'm gonna look like Ralphie's little brother.
Yeah.
With just
Yeah,
not
just
being able to
all
put my
the
arms
different
down.
layers on.
Yes, because it was cold.
That's probably a subconscious reason why I don't wear coats that often, is because I'm already a pretty big dude. Can you imagine me in layers? I mean, I would look like the Michelin Man just walking around.
Like when people go to Bears games, good for you guys. You guys are dedicated fans.
Yeah.
I am staying myself home.
So.
Oh yeah, no, that is definitely like sports games. When it gets too cold, like my friends will ask me, they're like, actually for the Bears-Packers game, they're like, do you want to go to the Bears-Packers game? Like I have an extra ticket, and I was like, no, no, I'd rather watch it at home.
I appreciate y'all, love y'all, but no.
In the warmth of your own home.
Yeah, exactly.
Do we have looks like we have another caller there on our board.
Trucker Mike is back.
The monitor is far enough away where I think I can see people calling in. But
don't ask me their names. I could see that you're there, though.
Yeah. How's it going, caller?
It's Trucker Mike. We got the note.
Yeah. Good morning again. You were talking on education, and one thing. Okay, sometimes you have to take tests and do stuff for employment places. One thing I have noticed, and many moons ago when I started driving a truck, I learned everything on my own. But now, the trucking industry is going to finally, maybe down the road, get safer because simple reason. When somebody wants to try to get their CDL now, they can go get their permit. They got to answer these questions at this license bureau and do this and do certain things. And then the next step is they apply for a school. They have to go to a school to get tested at the site. But the thing is our academy, we have a policy of there's 3 stages of what they have to do. And they have to memorize it. Don't use your phones. Don't use no papers, no nothing. We give them a sheet, and they pay for the hours. And I got a card that we stamp them every time they pass. I had a student. I had 2 kinds of students. One, they kept bringing us cookies, donuts, snacks, trying to bribe me, sweeten me up to just stamp that he passed. Well, sorry, I'm a stubborn old person. If you can't do what I'm to teach you, I don't stamp it, And he complained to the office that he won't pass me on this. And says, well, can you say it to me? Can you memorize it? And he tried, and he says that's the reason he didn't stamp it, because he didn't pass you. But the good thing about the thing is this is helping the trucking industry because of simple reason, because we teach them out there, and we give them like 3 or 4 times to memorize them sheets, and before they go to get tested at the site. And me and my boss, he'll ask me, and I'll ask him, and we'll ask if that student's ready, and I'll say no. Plain and simple, no. That student needs more time because they're not safe to be on the road. But the thing is they have to memorize. It's like computers. You just look up there, hit the answer, and then you read it. I like about teaching these students, and they're out there next to that truck, and then like one day, this one student says, "Oh, I'm good on my pre-trip." I said, "Okay, give me your sheet." He couldn't get past the first quarter of it. I says, "Okay, here's your sheet back. Study an hour later. I'll come back. We'll try it again." And he goes, "You're not going to pass me?" I says, "Nope. When I have that sheet in my hand and you memorize everything, then we'll pass you, And then one got mad because, well, I'm not getting no driving time. Well, you got to pass this. You got to know everything about that truck before you can even move a truck. I think that the best thing is that, we had one student that quit, went to another academy, thought he's going to get easier taught there. Ended up he had to come back, and he paid over $3,000 to go to that other school, wasted his money, The thing I love about this nowadays, it's going to kind of make safer drivers out there on the road.
Yeah.
And because simple reason, you got an 80,000-pound truck going down the road, and you got you and your family in a car. All you guys have your families in the car, and we're doing our job teaching these students to be safe. They know about the truck. They know about the situations. Because when I take the student out to get tested, okay, I've got 38 minutes, and I explain everything about what to do on the road when you're driving. And then I always tell them a little bit more of when they're done and they graduate, of things that they need to do when they're on their own, because we teach them everything, but I teach them more because I want them to be as good driver as me and be polite to you people on the road. It's tough.
So here's a question. Here's a question I have for you. How long? So I've just been on the radio here for a couple months now. You're calling in. I'm getting to know you that way. I have a question. How long have you been teaching folks? To drive truck? How long you been doing that?
For the academy, when I didn't have my medical issue, I went about a whole year teaching out in the field and driving and everything. Right now, what I can only do is take the students to go get tested and come back. And then I talk to them, and, I have to stay out of the wind and stuff. I can't let no dust or anything get in my eyes. But before I taught that academy, my company I drove for a few times had me have a driver come with me to see how good of a driver he is, how good he secures a load. One time I had to train a student to secure for hauling steel, and he come out of a driving school and he couldn't even back a truck up, but then I taught him to secure the loads, but then he was still not good. Well, I had to fill a sheet out, and they wanted me to sign a sheet, and I says, I can't sign that sheet because it'll make me feel bad. If something happens to him, you're going to say, well, why didn't you teach him? Well, we can't pay you for another week. I said, well, guess what? Find somebody else, because you know what? I need more time with that student. Some of the people in this that come to these schools and want to learn to drive a truck, they can learn it pretty quick and they're pretty good. But some of them, they don't study and they don't listen, and all they want to do is get that CDL, get behind a wheel, and try to make that big money, but not be a good driver. It's just like, you drive a car, all your driving licenses are not a right. It's a privilege. You do not have a right to drive. It's a privilege.
Well, I think we could have an entire radio show on the people conflating rights and privileges, and maybe we'll do that one day to get the YouTube commenters and the phone calls going crazy on that. But I want to think.
I'm going to let you go, because I don't want to interrupt the show. I want you to let other people come in. But the thing is, the thing about it is not just going to school, going to college, and studying and getting your education. It applies to places where you work. Sometimes you got to get trained, and you got to go to schools for your jobs. And everybody's got to realize you got to study. You want a good job, you got to study too. You might, she graduated from college and boom. But when she applies for a job, she might have to, for a week, train at the place where she's going to work, because they want to make sure that she's good to work there,
Yeah.
I mean, she's going to be a movie star on a newscast. Because, I watch some of these news programs.
Oh, we talking about
in the
Adrianna
morning.
here.
Yeah. And I watch some of these news stations in the morning, and it used to be just guys. There's a couple mornings I'm watching, they're all girls. What's happening to the guys? They don't know how to report news anymore? I'm going to let you go.
I guess not.
Guess not. Sorry, Joe, you're out of job.
I'm going to let you go before the producer there. He's a guy, and he's going to act like Deedlo and Deedlo me. So
yeah. Oh, he's had his finger on the trigger for a while now.
Yeah, just been waiting to drop you.
Yeah, but the thing is, we all need to get educated to do things the proper way. Okay.
There we go.
All right. Hey, thanks.
So
Just stay
much.
warm. Thanks for calling in.
Yep.
No callbacks next time, Trucker Mike.
That's awful. Anybody can call in at any time. I wanted to talk about something I did the other day real quick before we go to break.
Yes, because then we have
because we're out here at about 8:30.
Yes, and then we have one topic to cover.
Right, we do, and admittedly, I've been putting that off, but
yes, it's not something that we want to discuss, because you never want to think about that situation.
No, we'll get into that in a second. But the other day I went. It was a pretty cool experience. Purdue had at their extension over in Crown Point. They had a panel that was about running for local office. It was just a workshop, and they had a bipartisan panel. I got invited to be on. It was myself, Councilman Zach Beaver from Winfield, Councilman Chuck Gardner from from Munster. We also had Mike Brown, Mike Repay, and Michelle Feynman. So, the 3 and 3, a nice bipartisan panel. And we were talking to a room of 30 or 40 folks about what it takes to run for office, kind of what leads up to your decision to do that, what it's like being an elected official, and some of those more nuanced things. Michelle Feynman gave a pretty good rundown on some of the technicalities of what you have to file, when you have to file it, and all that stuff. But we had a really good discussion. Again, a bipartisan panel. These are folks that we probably will never agree on national issues, but when it comes down to some of the local stuff, we had a really good discussion. And one of the points that I wanted to take away and bring back was they were asking folks, and we talked a little bit about this last Friday. I've got a podcast out where I dive into it a little bit, but it was you really need to hold your candidates responsible for knowing why they're running and knowing what they're running for. So many times people go out there and they think that these are powerful positions, and they don't know what change that position they're running for can affect. And so if now is filing season, you go down to the county building in Crown Point, you can file a run. Anybody can file to run. There's only 1 or 2 offices where you need to have certain credentials to run. But aside from that, anybody can run. But what I would say is before you just say, look, I'm so mad at this issue, I'm going to run and I'm mad at this national issue, so I'm going to run for town council in Cherville. Well, that town council person in Cherville is not going to be changing any national issues.
That's a step in the right direction.
Well,
if you want to start
it could be, but you if you're wanting to, right now, immigration is such a hot topic.
Yes.
If you're going to say, I am so mad at this immigration issue, or on the flip side of it is, we need to deport more, wherever you're at on that, these local offices are not the place to affect that change. And so you do a disservice to your community if what you're running for is not the focus of your, I call it a lot of the educators, they're teased about, in the classroom, what's your why? Why are you doing this? What's your why? And I have to say, for some of these elected officials, you really have to ask yourself that, and people out there, don't be afraid to, ask these people as they call you, text you, send you emails, knock on your door, ask for your vote. Ask them, say, why are you doing this? And it'll be interesting because if they just come and they say, well, I just want to serve you, that's admirable, but what do you bring to the table? And so I just want to say we had this. It was this past Wednesday. Purdue put it on at their extension over there in Crown Point, and it was a really good, just panel session of about 2 hours long. I think they recorded it, so maybe here on WGOB we'll link to it at some point in time when that becomes available. But it was really good to see, 30, 40 folks, interested in running, and, again, citizens, engage those people who are asking for your vote. One of the things we talked about was voter apathy, and I said, I estimated there's 2 different reasons why we have voter apathy. One is, we have a lot of communities in Northwest Indiana that are run very well. They're safe communities. The parks are nice. The schools are good. The streets are paved. And there's not a lot to complain about. So when there's not a lot going on, you just don't think that, hey, I need to grab my pitchfork on Election Day and run over to my polling place and vote these people out, get new people in. So there's an apathy that if everything's going fine, I don't really need to be involved in the community that way. And then there's the other apathy of, look, we're in Northwest Indiana, we're in Lake County. Local corruption has been a story for, 50 years. And you lay on top of that we're in the Chicago media market. So then all we hear is Chicago corruption. And you get folks that say, well, my vote doesn't matter. Nothing matters. So why even go vote? And that's dangerous.
I think that's one main thing that I cannot stand when people say that their vote does not matter. It does. Because especially like with certain elections, you're gonna have your two main candidates, and then you have a third party. Usually with presidential, I don't know if that happens on like the state and local levels. Okay, so you have your two candidates, and you have the third party. Either people don't go vote and they say my vote doesn't matter, or they said I voted third party because I just wanted to throw away my vote.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and I don't know, maybe it's happened. As my point of view, third party, the person who is in that third party hardly ever wins. If not, they never win.
Oh, yeah.
It is the two main people.
And the only time, not the only time, but for the most part, the only time that you will see an independent candidate run is where they're already a known person.
Yeah.
If something happened in the primary process, in the balloting process, where this established Democrat, will say, doesn't make the ballot, and they decide to run as an independent, name ID. But that's about the only scenario. It's the system is really designed for one of the two parties to get in.
And I remember hearing about that, and I was just like, why would you vote third party? And they're just like, well, I didn't like any of the other candidates. I'm like, okay, pick the one that you dislike the least and go with them, because you're essentially throwing away your vote. And it's just something I just never understood why somebody would do that. It's like, yeah, you may not agree with the two people. Find the one that you have more common agreements with and go with them. And then maybe as they continue on, and if they do win, they get you more on their side. They're like, okay, because there are some candidates who are like, I know that you don't agree with me, but let's fix that. What can we do so that way we not only make the people that did vote for us happy, but then also those who may not have voted for us, how can we cater to you?
Right. And so much of that becomes, to speak to that voter apathy, is how do you then get people engaged that are otherwise detached from the entire process? And for some of these communities where life is good, that's not so bad. That there's no push for a change. But when it's time to make a change, Joe's going for his mic, so Joe's got a thought. No,
he's like, I wanted to turn it off.
Joe's got nothing to say here. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this really good program. I wanted to thank Purdue for putting that on down at their extension. We had a good conversation. You are listening to WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM here in the region in wonderful rustic Hammond, Indiana. We're going to take a short break and come back at the top of the hour.
Little more, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I love you. All together now. All together now. All together now.
Introducing Powers Health, a health system with a new name and a strong legacy of caring for families in our community. One with a tradition of advanced specialized services and a vision for the future. One with a commitment to medical excellence and compassionate care. Everything we do, everything we believe, powers health.
Tired of that cracked driveway? Dreaming of a new patio or need a concrete partner for your next big project? Call RNC Concrete Construction, family owned with 30 plus years serving Northwest Indiana. From residential driveways to stamped patios and commercial foundations, we pour with pride and deliver lasting quality. Call today for your free estimate at 219-779-9370. That's 219-779-9370. RNC Concrete, where your concrete vision comes to life.
Siri, read me that text.
Sorry, I can't complete your request.
You want me to read that?
No, I got it.
construction zone.
I see it.
Watch it. Oh my God. You're gonna hit him!
Oh, fuck!
When driving in a construction zone, be smart, be alert, be in the zone.
This is Brian Short, business manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save lives. We're all in this together.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated local.
High school basketball postseason is here with the girls starting February 3rd and boys March 3rd. Be on every game for as low as $1,500. Sponsor local. Reach millions. Visit heartlandsportsnet.com today for more information.
Welcome back to Region Rundown. I am Bob. Adrianna's on my left.
Hi.
Hi.
On your left, to the people, to the right.
To the right, stage right. You are listening to WJOB 1230 AM 104.7 FM. If you've got anything you want to talk about, give us a call at 219-845-1100. We'll do traffic and weather in a second. We can be quick about that. We've got about a half hour left, and there's a topic that we want to settle on here for a few minutes. At this point, all the school closures.
People know that.
Yeah,
school is closed.
at this point, your kids probably aren't going to school. But suffice it to say, for the closures, I doubt there are many open.
Yes.
So next time we get we get in a situation like this, we may just come up with a list of the very few schools that are open. Most are closed here in Northwest Indiana and our neighbors over in Illinois. But let's do traffic and weather, and then we can get into our final topic of the day.
Yep. So currently right now in the Northwest region, traffic is looking pretty good. Everything's green, honestly. I'm not seeing any traffic whatsoever. 80 going east and west is looking good. 90 going east and west is looking good. Chicago Skyway, toll roads, Borman, Dan Ryan, the connectors, all looking good. Stevenson, Eisenhower is looking great, as well as 94 going east and west up by the city and by the airports. Everything's looking good. Not much traffic. What we got for weather?
Okay, for the weather, it's going to be super cold. It's going to be a high of -1, but the real feel is going to be -24. Sorry. Somebody's playing with the computer.
Yeah, did you not see that? Yeah, Jim told us that he's signing into Simeon to make sure that there's an ad in there.
That scared me.
It's Preacher.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cold. And the temperature might drop a little more from -24 to -30, around there. And then for the rest of the weekend Saturday is going to be a high of 11 with about 1 to 3 inches of snow accumulation starting in the afternoon tomorrow, and it's going to be a real feel of 5. And then to close off the weekend, it will be a real feel of 1, a high of 17, and the snow will continue throughout the night, and you're supposed to get another 1 to 3 inches. So that is your weather for the rest of the week.
All right. So we have one last topic that we want to talk about, and we've been kind of putting it off for just a little bit, and that is, NBC did a story on this, so we are going to read off of what they said. They have a little bit more content than what we found originally, which was just the obituary of Emerald Miller. I believe that is her name. We're going to make sure. Yep, Emerald Miller. This article title is Family and Friends Say Indiana Girl Who Took Her Life Was Being Bullied. This past Sunday, Emerald Miller, a 13-year-old from Griffith, Indiana, died by suicide after family says that she was badly bullied at school. Emerald was an honor student at Griffith Middle School who loved singing, drama, and drawing. The quote says, "I honestly just hope that she is remembered for the type of person that she was. I feel like everybody needs someone like her," says Emerald's friend Dahlia Bonamo. "I don't know. I tried hard to maybe get things to stop and nobody listened." Another quote says, I am upset that this is a friendship cut short. I am sad that they only got a few months to spend together, says Amanda Bonomo, Dahlia's mother. We need to come together as parents and figure out solutions together, because at the end of the day, I don't think it's all on the administration. I think a lot of this starts at home. Emerald's mother in a statement wrote, we are completely and utterly destroyed by the loss of our beautiful daughter. She was a wonderful daughter, sister, granddaughter, niece, and friend. She was an honor roll student her entire school career. She was in choir and drama. She loved to sing and draw and skate. She was very kind and always stopped to compliment strangers on the street. Everything changed at the end of August when some kids decided to start bullying her. She had to go to inpatient care for a week. You would think that it would have stopped there when these kids saw how much they were hurting her, but no. She spoke up at school for help. I spoke up at school for their help as well. The school said that there wasn't much they could do. I pulled her out of school for months, and she just went back 2 weeks before this happened. She loved school and missed it. I don't understand how people could be so cruel to her. Police and school officials did not respond to NBC Chicago's numerous requests for comments, but Superintendent Leah Dumijic, I believe that's how you say her name, sent a message to students and parents this week that reads, it is with profound sadness that we confirm the loss of one of our students. This is a heartbreaking time for our school community, and we are grieving alongside our students, staff, and families. Our hearts are with the students, friends, families, and classmates and teachers as they navigate an unimaginable loss. We ask that they may be met with compassion, privacy, and care during this time. When something so painful happens, it is natural to want answers and to try to make sense of what has occurred. We understand that instinct, and we share community's concerns and sorrow. At the same time, we are deeply worried about the spread of unverified information online and within the community. Rumors and speculations, especially during the moments of grief, can unintentionally create fear, confusion, and safety concerns for students and can cause additional harm to those who are already hurting. For the well-being of our students and families, we are asking for the community to pause, lead with kindness, and refrain from sharing unconfirmed information. We are limited to what we can share, not out of avoidance, but out of respect for the student, the family, and the legal protections in place for minor children. We want to be clear and transparent about those boundaries while also assuring our community that we are taking the situation with the utmost seriousness. We have fully cooperated with the Griffith Police Department and will continue to do so. Renee Tinsley is a parent and grandparent with grandchildren at the district. She says it is very upsetting to see a young life lost. She said, I have a 14-year-old granddaughter and she does go to school. If I'd lost her, I don't know what I would do. It's very sad to see a young girl who couldn't find a way out. There's nothing that we can do to bring her back, but there's something we can do to remember her by being nice. Wednesday night, dozens of homes in Griffith were adorned with green lights for Emerald. An online fundraiser has been established to help with the family's expenses. Advocates are also urging anyone with mental health struggles to reach out for help. A quote says, we always say if you are concerned about something or noticing something's off, trust your gut, reach out, says Angela Cummings, Executive Director of Illinois chapter of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. There is available help. And then they also include at the very end of the article the hotline, the suicide hotline, crisis lifeline.
You know, a couple days ago, you and I started talking about that we started doing show prep.
Yes.
And so for some of the folks listening, they may question how much prep went into it, but this was a topic that came up, and you know, as I talked about him half a dozen times every single show I'm on, because he's you know, he is my life. I often say that, you know, adopting Liam saved me in many ways, and you know, he's 10 years old, and when the story first broke, and I think I mentioned to you, I couldn't even read it, mm-hmm. and I think that's why I said, hey, if you want to, you know, do, you know, maybe a deep dive into this and get some of the information, because that loss in that way, to me as a parent of someone who is in that age cohort, is unimaginable. And you know, but before this story, anecdotally, you could just say, middle school is a tough time for everybody. And then when a tragedy like this happens, we're on the radio, we're supposed to be talking, but how do you talk about something that I don't know that I have words for? There is such unimaginable sadness. I don't know, as a parent, I don't know what the next steps are. I had a cousin who had passed away, and but at this point they were in their 20s, and so my aunt and uncle, I saw them go through it. I just don't know. So this isn't something that we'll take calls on. This isn't something that we need to be commenting on YouTube about, or on any of the other places. It's that maybe it's just something we just sit and hold and think about. Certainly, we want to keep the family in our thoughts, but there's an anger element, that as a parent I first think, well, what were the how were the other parents involved? How do you get to this spot? And I simply don't know. We try to be, for those of you that have listened to me thus far, we're heavily involved in our kids' lives, in Liam's life. So many parents are, and it's by saying I don't have words, I simply do not know what to say about this. It's
when hearing about situations like this, it's the unimaginable. When a parent loses their child, nobody is ever going to be prepared for that, especially so young. And with this day and age, when we're taught about bullying in school, at least when I was in school, they would show us the animated films of why you shouldn't bully, why bullying's wrong. We had the assemblies to speak about bullying. They talked about it, but I feel with this generation, it's a lot more difficult because the animated videos from the 80s and early 90s, maybe early 2000s, aren't going to get that message across to these children now, because it's not just name calling and mocking and teasing. It's a lot more intense than what people may realize, that with the usage of technology and kids having the ability with not only text messages, so you're not only just getting it at school, you're getting it once you come home from school. It's not only just while you're in school and conversations and the bullying there, but it can come from cyberbullying, as well as in the most, I don't know how other way to put this, kids are becoming a lot more creative in their bullying tactics, and they are becoming a lot more psychological with it. And it's scary. I mean,
it is. And as a parent, you then start running down like the only context that I have for this is how I am a parent. And the superintendent was right in that, hey, whenever a big news story like this happens, there's the facts of the case, and then there's speculation that somehow turns into an entire mythos around whatever happened. And so none of this is to say we don't know really anything. We don't know the student that sadly isn't here with us anymore. The child, we don't know the parents, we don't know the schools, we don't know the friends, we don't know any of that. And so we just have to think in our own heads of okay, what would we do in our own context to prevent this? We've made a decision for us that, hey, no cell phone, no social media. that may be tough. He's into flag football and wrestling, and he's doing these things where it's like, yeah, once you get into middle school, you might need a phone because you're at practice, and we'll tackle that when we get there. But there's so many nuanced things that I don't even know what to say, because again, nothing you can say at the moment, other than being supportive of the family, it changes anything. And so at some point there is a conversation to be had about how are you raising your kids to not be these bad actors in school.
And it's not to blame the parents in any way.
No, but I think on the
it's more so being vigilant of your children.
Well, and whether they are the victim of bullies, but you should also be vigilant to know, are you, is your kid the bully?
Yeah.
We've had both of those conversations of, again, kids are growing up. They test boundaries. They try to, and so, it's a lot of the repetitive conversations of, would you want someone doing that to you? Well, no. Well, then you don't do that to other people.
Yeah.
And again, I hate to even speak on it because we don't really know anything. But other than be as involved in your kids' lives as possible. If, and it sounds like, again, all we know is this article. Sounds like they did everything, that you would do. You talk to the school, you talk to people, you put your kid in safe environments, but then you also want them to thrive, and you do things, and so
it's also the mental aspect. You don't know what's going on in the child's brain. A lot of it, at least what I've seen, that parents worry about their children when it does come to bullying, not only the actions, but also what is going on in the child's head. The depression, the anxiety, all of that stuff adds very heavily to the effects of bullying. And if they have history of self-harm, or even if they don't, sometimes there doesn't need to be a history of self-harm for it to occur. And at least growing up within my experience is with stuff like that, that was something, at least because for me, I have very high anxiety. We're diagnosed with it and all that. Once they found out, it wasn't, for me as a child, it wasn't in my mind that could make bullying heavier.
Right.
I was lucky enough that my parents caught on to that really quickly. So any panic attacks, any kind of breakdowns that as a child you didn't know how to control, because you're just like, what is this invisible monster? Like what's happening? I was very lucky that my parents were able to look at anxiety as like, okay, this is just affecting her now, but if she is to get bullied, or if this is ever to happen, what can we do to prevent? And that's one aspect that I feel a lot of people don't look at, is the anxiety, the depression, and just the mentality of it. Because if a child does have those things, it can get heightened so fast.
Well, and I think that both impacts kids who are bullied, but also kids who do bullying.
Yeah.
That is a coping mechanism for external stress factors, and who knows what that would be. Boy, if there was an answer, we could have said that at 8:05 and turned off the radio and been done with it, and there isn't one. But I felt it was important enough to at least bring up and acknowledge that something tragic happened in the community that is it's out of the norm. It is not natural. And for those of you out there that are parents of kids, perhaps you work with kids in the schools, pay attention, be involved.
Mm-hmm.
There is,
There's resources.
There's resources there. And this isn't to say that there is finger pointing on anything, because I just simply have no other thing to say than to have rambled for the last 20 minutes, because I've been thinking about this for days now, and I like to think at times I can put a concise thought together, but this is so unimaginable, so unnatural in many ways.
Because when it comes to like things like this and losing people at very young ages, if they are children, teenagers, young adults, it's very hard to have to think about those things, because you always want to think of people that you won't have to have those conversations until they have lived the full lives. You don't want to have to think about having those services and they have no wrinkles on their face.
Right.
It's one thing that you never think is going to happen. So I think the best way that we can wrap up this is just to pray for the family, and not only send like your thoughts and prayers not only to the family, to the school, all the classmates, anybody that was involved within the situation, all of the parents, and just anybody that is going through this. And if you do know somebody that is going through this, don't hesitate to speak up for them. And also, it doesn't just happen within the school ages. This happens at any age, within adults, within children, everywhere. Like, this isn't something that goes away.
Right.
So
we are going to take a quick break before we come back at the bottom of the hour, just to wrap up for a few minutes, and so we will catch you all in about 2 minutes.
Yep, you're listening to the Region Rundown with Bob and Adrianna on WJOB 1230 AM 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana, and also watching live on YouTube. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Do you want to get a vaccine, but it's difficult to get to your healthcare provider? Call the folks at Right Care Pharmacy. They'll come to your home, discuss your vaccination status with you, and administer the appropriate vaccine with expertise. They offer vaccines for flu, shingles, pneumonia, hepatitis A and B, TDAP, RSV, and COVID. They've been serving the Lake and Porter County community for over 11 years and are fluent in Spanish. Call Right Care Pharmacy at 219-655-5028.
For over 100 years, Roofers Local 26 has been keeping Northwest Indiana dry and safe. Since 1919, our highly trained members have built a reputation for skills, safety, and reliability. With a 4-year apprenticeship and certifications in OSHA safety, first aid, and CPR, we deliver quality you can trust. When you need roofing done right, choose Roofers Local 26, protecting what matters most for over a century. For more information, visit www.roofers26.com.
Jeff Saturday for Indiana Unclaimed.
Listen up. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Indiana Unclaimed might have found some of your money. And if you're like me, you had no idea. But I went and checked for my name on indianaunclaimed.gov. Look, I found a Hall of Fame quarterback on that list and the foundation of a former punter. The state of Indiana is reuniting folks with $1 million per week. Your name may be on that list too. Go find it at indianaunclaimed.gov.
Becoming a truck driver doesn't have to be complicated. At Schneider, we make it easy to get your commercial driver's license and start your new career. With our CDL apprenticeship training, you'll get paid to become a truck driver in just 5 to 6 weeks and have a Schneider driving job waiting for you when you've completed the program. Plus, during training, Schneider will provide transportation, lodging, and meals at no cost to you. Ready to get your career on the road? Learn more and apply today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Tech Credit Union supports the essential role of union labor in building strong communities. That's why we offer hassle-free banking, financial empowerment, and a commitment to your success. Save for the future, handle life's challenges, and trust a partner that stands by hardworking union members. Tech Credit Union, the better option for you and your money.
Visit techcu.org or call 800-276-8324. Tech Credit Union, supporting union families every step of the way.
Welcome back, everybody, to Region Rundown here on Fridays with myself, Bob, and Adrianna here on WJOB 1230 AM 104.7 FM here in Hammond, Indiana. As always, you can call us at 219-845-1100, but we're going to be wrapping up the show in about 3 minutes here. We just wanted to do a bottom of the hour traffic and weather update before we say goodbye. So how are the roads? And before you get into the roads,
yes.
On Mondays, Chuck does the traffic. I've said all along I dislike doing traffic, mainly because I've been here. I'm mid-40s. I've been here for 40-some years. I know all the roads, but all these colloquial nicknames that we have, especially over the border in Illinois. When I look at the map, if it's green, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
But
I
give us some
didn't know
details.
any of these nicknames until I started working here. My family called it the highway, and then if we were going to Illinois, expressway. That was it. That's all we knew. And one thing I will say, growing up, I had the family members that did drive on the highways, and I had the family members that did not drive on the highways. So, with my parents and everything and anybody else, we would drive on the highways all the time. My grandfather despised the highways. We took back roads to get everywhere. And honestly, I enjoyed those longer car rides with him in the car. And especially if we weren't playing music, he would play smooth jazz. So for the YouTube peoples, you hear smooth jazz. It's just because when growing up, my grandfather loved smooth jazz, and I would just hear that, and I knew exactly what radio stations he would have it pinned to. So I'm just yep. We're listening to his music taste today. So we would take the back roads. So looking at the traffic when we do it, they don't have the back roads on here. I'm what if the little roundabout over here is all backed up? I won't know. But let's take a look at traffic. In the Northwest region, traffic's looking pretty good. 80 going east and west is looking good. 90 going east and west is looking good. 65 going north and south is looking pretty good. There's no traffic over here of what I'm seeing, at least. Take a look at the Borman Dan Ryan area and into the connector. Everything's looking good. Chicago Skyways are looking good. Lakeshore Drive as well as the Stevenson going north and south, and Eisenhower going east and west. Everything is looking great. 94 going east and west is looking fabulous as well. In terms of weather, Joe, what you got?
What do I have? I have some freezing cold temperatures for you guys. Today's going to be a high of -1, but the real feel is going to be in the -20s all day. Right now it's about -24. Later it should drop to around -30 at the most, which is terrible. And then for Saturday, it's going to be a high of 11, which is a little bit better with a real feel of 5. At least it's in the positive degrees. But the snow will start in the afternoon tomorrow. I expect about 1 to 3 inches of accumulation. And then Sunday, it's going to come in even heavier, so it's definitely going to be more towards the 3-inch side as far as Sunday is concerned, and it's going to be a high 17 and a real feel of 1. And that's your weather for the rest of the week.
There we go. So it is about to be 8:30. We gotta dip out. So you guys get Joe for 30 minutes.
Yes, some of us have jobs that we have to go to.
Yeah, sorry. Well, no, Joe's still currently at his job.
This is my job.
But I will say, one of my other 5,000 jobs. They always ask, they're just like, hey, you want any extra hours? And Fridays I don't have classes, and I usually typically never came in here in the mornings on Fridays, and if I did, it was before 9 o'clock. So I was like, yeah, no problem. And then I saw that, I was like, oh. Then we have the morning show, and I was like, oh, forgot about that. But you gotta leave at 8:30 too, so it works out perfectly. So Joe, you're gonna need to come up with a show name for the last 30 minutes every Friday.
Every Friday? Well,
yeah.
I'm gone after next week.
Well, yeah,
All right.
next
like 2 weeks.
Yeah, next week I'll just produce.
Well, no, I'll be here next week, and then
The week after,
and then the ensuing week I will be in
Yeah, so-
Connecticut dog sitting, and then at Mardi Gras.
there you go. You're gonna have to tell us all about Mardi Gras when you come
I'm gonna
back.
vlog for you guys. Yeah, I have some clips that we
Yes,
can play.
you gotta. Well, you gotta.
I'll
you gotta
double
look
check.
through all the
I'll-
clips.
yeah, I'll
We'll have to
verify
watch them
before I
first.
send it,
before we,
But yeah,
them.
so on those days that you are gone, I will be producing, and yeah, so we'll be all good to go.
You'll need to find another co-host, Bob.
Well, no, I'll just put up everything, and then I'll just come sit here.
Yeah, she'll just run, but we'll have to get some USB extensions so she can.
I'll bring we'll bring the longest mouse over here just so we
Yeah.
can hit callers with just one button.
We can do that. So,
yeah.
all right, everyone. Thanks for joining us today.
Yep, we're gonna have some music play real quick as we skedaddle out of here.
Out of here. We will.
We have the award-winning Veterans Views coming up next. Don't forget to mention that.
Oh yes,
At
we
10
have
o'clock.
them. Nope, 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
You were about to stay here longer than you had to.
Yeah. So everyone, stay warm.
Yes.
It's just going to be one of those weekends where stay warm, stay inside. No sense in going outside if you don't have to. I think this is going to be our new Friday routine.
There we go.
Here on WJOB.
Yep, you guys get us every Friday, so.
And this is a new thing. We've got a new graphic up that we've been working with.
I freaking love that graphic. It is amazing.
It's busy as all heck, but
South Shore Steve.
Yeah.
Repping the trade. That's the trade's name, guys.
And we're just gonna try this for a while to see what works. I think they said with podcasting, you need to do a podcast or radio show for something like 2 years before you've gotten your stride on it. And so doing this once a week, we're going to have some good shows and some shows that we're like, yeah, we'll try it again next week. So keep calling in, and
there we go.
That's all we're going to do.
We'll see you guys next Friday. Thank you for listening.
At Strachan Van Til, we believe grocery shopping should be simple. Now, shopping is easier than ever with our new and improved website. Find what you need fast. Browse your favorite products, add them to your cart, and check out in just a few quick steps. Choose between convenient in-store pickup or let us handle the heavy lifting. From our shelves to your doorstep, skip the lines, shop your way, and spend more time on what matters most. With our rewards program, enjoy incredible savings and personalized offers every time you shop. Shop online now at strachanvantail.com or download our app today.
Turn up your weekend plans at Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana. Dance the night away every Friday and Saturday night at the Hard Rock Cafe stage. Or grab a cocktail while you listen to local beats at the Council Oak stage. Get closer to your favorite artist than ever before in our state-of-the-art Hard Rock Live, where we host some of the biggest artists in the industry. Live your life at max volume. Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana. Just off Exit 6, I-80-94. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9.
Jeff Saturday for Indiana Unclaimed.
Listen up. I'm going to let you in a little secret. Indiana Unclaimed might have found some of your money. And if you're like me, you had no idea. But I went and checked for my name on IndianaUnclaimed.gov. Look, I found a Hall of Fame quarterback on that list and the foundation of a former punter. The state of Indiana is reuniting folks with $1 million per week. Your name may be on that list too. Go find it at IndianaUnclaimed.gov.
From the gas in your car to the heat in your home and the roads that you drive on, our work powers daily life. We are USW Local 71, the proud men and women of the Whiting Refinery. We're not just refinery workers. We're your friends and neighbors, raising our families here, shopping in the same stores, and cheering in the same stands. USW Local 71, powering the region because we are the region.
Welcome back, everybody. We got Bob cleaning up behind us. He's just on his way out. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about sports. For all of you who stayed or anybody who's listening, oh my gosh, you scared me. Anyways, obviously there's some big news. We talked a little bit about it with Brent, but it's been maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks since we last talked about sports with each other. This is what I'm thinking of, because I had some people tell me that they would be interested in a sports show, which I'm willing to give you guys. Shoot. We're just going to take off the hood. Which I'm willing to do for you guys. You know, it's pretty much all I watch, from sun up to sundown. So, yeah, I mean, basketball season is in the midst, hockey season's in the midst. I don't really watch hockey, so I don't know if I will give you guys a lot of hockey content. But once football ends officially, I'll pick up basketball. Football is obviously my passion. So anyways, back to the name thing. I went with this, so this one kind of has some relevancy to it. If I were to start a sports show, obviously, my name is Joe. When I used to wrestle back in elementary school, I was always kind of a diva, that one guy that was always dressed up. You guys should have seen the cleats I used to rock when I was younger. If you guys know the CN ones, the Cam Newton ones, the high ones, I used to get them custom from my dad. My dad would customize them, look all cool and stuff like that. I probably had like 40 pairs of those. I was very spoiled when it came to accessories and stuff like that. So I got the nickname Hollywood for a while when I was on the wrestling team and during some of my youth football years. And then I ended up getting transferred to Andrean for my senior year, and Andrean is on 5959 Broadway. And if you guys know who Joe Namath is, the Jets quarterback, the former Jets quarterback, then you would know that his nickname was Broadway Joe. And it just seemed kind of fitting. It's similar to Hollywood, other side of the country, but you get what I'm saying. They kind of have their own, Hollywood and, Broadway's kind of got their own thing, So my dad made a graphic when I moved here, like first game. And so I became Broadway Joe at Andrean for the year. And I don't know, I kind of like the name. Obviously, it sticks, it's cool, it fits with me. So if I were to make it a sports show, I don't know what you guys think of the name, or if I should switch it to something else. But anyways, as we are waiting for the award-winning Veterans Views to come in and do their show, we're going to talk a little bit about the Hoosiers, man. The Hoosiers won it all. It's hard to believe. Sorry, I hear crinkling. I just don't know if they're here or not. I'm supposed to be here by myself now, so it's kind of scary. So we'll take it by the games that we last talked about. So last time I was on here talking, the Indiana-Oregon game was about to start. So Indiana kicked the crap out of Oregon. Rightfully so. When I talked about it, I talked about the defense of Indiana needing to step up, and I didn't think that there was going to be a whole lot of points scored. But evidently, it was 56-22. I want to take partial credit because I did say that Indiana was going to have to rely on their defense, so they wouldn't put up a lot of points. But Indiana's defense put them in scoring position every single drive. Like every single drive. There was multiple drives that, ended up coming out in points for the Indiana Hoosiers that were like 20-yard drives. They're like 20, 29-yard drives. In the national championship, they had a block punt. Their defense is absolutely ridiculous. I'm sure there's probably going to be Kamara will get drafted. Fisher will get drafted. There's another linebacker I'm forgetting the name of. Pons will get drafted. Sharp will get drafted. There's a lot of talent on that Indiana defense. That's going to be gone. You see a lot of their transfers are offensive players. They haven't gotten a lot of defense, so I'm kind of interested to see how that goes for them. They have a great I keep blanking on the name of the defensive coordinator, but he's really good. And yeah, I mean, if you're going to make them turn over the ball and you're going to put your team on their side of the field to start the drive, it's almost an automatic at least 3 points. And, if you're Indiana's offense, it's not going to be hard to move the ball, especially with that kind of momentum. They ended up putting belt to Oregon, putting up 56 points on them. So then the ensuing week, actually, before that Miami and Ole Miss game, though, right, the other side of the bracket, Indiana made everyone on their side of the bracket look pretty pathetic. But the other side of the bracket was banger after banger. I mean, you had the Ole Miss Georgia game to even get Ole Miss into that position. Absolutely wild by Trinidad Chambliss. Great player. I'm glad that he's coming back. I think that's a smart move instead of going to the draft. I think he has the potential with a lot of those other Ole Miss players coming back to not only be in the playoffs again, but probably be in Heisman contention as well as a top pick in the NFL draft. Miami at Ohio State. Oh, man, does it feel good to hate watch my friend Gilly, dude. Ohio State loses, the Packers lose. Oh, I've never felt better as a fan of the opposing teams and my friend being a fan of those teams. I've never felt better watching play. I've never felt better watching those teams lose, man. That was a great week. I hate Ohio State. I hate the Packers, man. And they both lost. It was awesome. So, yeah, I'm a big Mark Fletcher Jr. guy. Before the playoffs started, I first became aware of him on NCAA 25. For those who used to play the college game back in the day when it was 14, obviously it dropped 11 years later. 10 years later, we got NCAA 25, and it's been really good because now you got NIL. They can put the players' names into it. You could put a name to the face, and it makes it a lot easier to remember college players. Going into the draft, and like other ones that are returning to teams. Like I think last year was the first time where I knew a majority of like the players that were drafted, like every single pick out of the 7 rounds. Usually by the back end of round 3, I'll start getting confused by like who some of these guys are. But like I was pretty sure, last draft class was pretty good, but I went all 7 rounds pretty much knowing everybody. So, and I credit that mostly to the game. And one of my college Ultimate Team players was actually Mark Fletcher last year, and he was a demon. He had a spring break promo card that was really cool, and he ended up having a absolutely monstrous playoff run. I mean, against Ole Miss, he did a lot of that heavy carrying, 22 carries, 133 yards, and that's all on the ground. He did not have a single catch at all. That's straight dominance. That's straight running through people. And then in the national championship, I mean, he also put up. Oops, wrong person. He put up 17 carries. He had 1 reception for 8 yards, so he put up 17 carries, 112 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like that. To do that on that kind of stage and then come back, I think Mark Fletcher is probably going to be the top option at running back next year. Obviously, this year it's going to be Jeremiah Love. So a closer game, 21-27. At halftime, if you remember at the national championship, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of felt this shift in momentum. And I really, really, really thought that Miami was going to come back and win the game. And I'm pretty sure right out of half is when Mark Fletcher had that 57-yard touchdown run. So that almost really solidified it on me. I almost threw some money. Or actually, you can't live bet on college sports, which sucks because I would have thrown money on. Actually, I don't know if you can live bet money lines live, but I was going to throw some on Miami at halftime because there was just some weird feeling I had. And then they came out and had that 57-yard touchdown run, and then they came and stopped the Hoosiers, and then later in that game, the block punt happened, and that is really what I think kind of sealed the deal for Indiana, because momentum is a real thing, especially in games like this. To have a crowd behind you and to have the feeling that things are going right ultimately makes you play so much better. And that blocked touchdown, that blocked punt for a touchdown was exactly what Indiana needed to get the offense rolling again. I think they had 1 more touchdown and then 2 field goals towards the end of the game, which ultimately sealed the deal. Fernando Mendoza putting his body on the line on that 4th and 5. It was a great call. I watched them talk about specifically how they saw that coverage in the previous week when they were playing Ole Miss in the red zone. So they drew up a QB draw that was just blocked differently, so that they were it obviously schemes well with the kind of defense that they were running. And Fernando Mendoza talked a little bit about it because he talked about the pre-snap read, half of it being, or him saying that if it was man, he was supposed to throw it, and if it was zone, he was supposed to run it. But when he called the play, he didn't like the play when they were about to run it, but the play clock was too low, so he ended up having to snap the ball anyways. And when they dropped back in the coverage, they split. They went half zone, half man, probably like a cover 6, cover 9. If I had to guess in the red zone, that's probably what it would be. I didn't look at the coverage. There's no great wide shot of it. But anyways, so he just, he bet on himself, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do. If you're the Heisman, bet on yourself 110% of the time. That ended up keeping them at a 10-point differential, and man, did Miami turn up at the end, dude. It was scary, but I mean, it's Carson Beck that we're talking about. It was only a matter of time before he messed up and ended up just being on the last play of the game to salt it away. I'm not a huge Carson Beck guy. I think he's big and he has all right. He's literally like a worse version of Fernando Mendoza, if you think about it. Less arm talent, just a little bit, a little less mobile, a little less accurate, 10 times more confident, though, for some reason. And ends up not paying off. He'll probably get drafted. My guess is somewhere in the 5th to 6th round, probably by the Chargers or something like that. Because I know they're still trying to find their backup for Justin Herbert. And all right, I think, or I could talk about the Bears game a little bit. Just roll through while I'm rambling. Talk about what happened last week. All right, so go to the NFL games. I mean, Caleb sold, dude. Caleb played terrible in overtime. I understand the miscommunication. See, the thing that's difficult about running or being a quarterback in an NFL offense is that a lot of these plays, right, are option routes almost. Not exactly option routes, but the way that you run them are all based off of the coverage, right? Because when you're a wide receiver in the NFL, you're expected to understand more about the concepts and the defenses and the routes that you're running and why you're running them against it, where who you're running it against, right? All of that depends versus when you're in high school, it's run this route and that's it. Half the time the routes are mirrored from side to side. It's never how it works anymore. So the problem with their miscommunication, which led to that interception in overtime, is you're looking at these safeties, right? That's usually the first thing you look at as a quarterback when you drop back, because it tells you a lot about which way they're rolling the coverage, right? If you see both of them drop back, you get a cover 2, cover 4 kind of look. If one of them rolls, it's more man or cover 3, cover 1, cover 6, something like that, right? If one of them rolls, depending, they could both come down, right? You could see a man blitz like that. So you check the safeties. And DJ Moore has this kind of over route coming from the left side in the slot. So when Caleb is looking at it, right, he's looking at these safeties, and they both kind of drop back like this, and the right safety kind of creeps up like that just a little bit. But it's not too hard to tell. Caleb's initial reaction, right, seeing these two safeties go out, he wants to throw it lower. So this crossing route has two options, right? So when DJ Moore is running across and he's looking at this field side safety, right, he's looking to see if this safety goes up like he did, then he should cut it flat, right? So that you're running away from the guy. You cut it flatter. And then if he comes up, that's when it becomes a deeper shot, and you kind of go over it and then throw it over the safety and try and land it in the bucket. So the thing is DJ Moore kind of saw this safety kind of in between making a decision, and he slowed down, which was awful. You can't put the pick entirely on Caleb, but it wasn't a great ball either. So he was kind of hovering. So honestly, Caleb probably should have just moved to a different route. I think I saw Rome Odunze coming across the field. My guess is it was probably a post, because I don't remember the whole concept. It was probably post, over, other over, and then a comeback would be my guess on the concept. But I did see Rome Odunze coming back over, right, this way as kind of crossing route. So if I were Caleb, I would have went and checked that other safety and probably thrown it to Odunze. But he didn't, and he left it out there. And if you're going to give Matthew Stafford 2 tries in overtime, man, you're never, ever, ever going to win that game. Ever in a million years would you ever win a game if you gave Matthew Stafford 2 tries in overtime to score once, to get a field goal. It's just not going to happen. And as much as I hate to say it, because I wanted the Bears to win, I kind of knew it was coming. They had a great season, but if you're going to have 7 fourth-quarter comeback wins, it's not going to happen in the playoffs. Your luck's bound to run out. I'm glad they at least got the Packers out of there before that happened, because I think the Packers probably would have won that game. Then as for the other game, C.J. Stroud is trash. I've been saying this all the time, my entire life. I like his throwing motion, but the dude, I don't know what it is, honestly. Because when you look at his intangibles, they're not bad. I mean, he's not exactly fast, but he's got good mechanics. He's a pure pocket passer. He's not exactly inaccurate. He's just kind of dumb now, right? I'm pretty sure he scored the lowest on whatever the new Wonderlic is, the Wonderlic test. I'm pretty sure he had, like, the lowest score. And then, like, he had that amazing rookie year, and everyone's like, oh, this IQ test is so dumb, it doesn't mean anything. And now the dude throws 4 interceptions and can't read off of a piece of paper, bro. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. So obviously the Patriots are going to win that. Also, I do feel kind of bad for him because his offensive line is awful. But I feel worse for the defense because you knew that the defense was always going to kind of keep them in the game. Make sure that things were close. I mean, Drake May had a few turnovers, I think like 2 fumbles or something like that, or 4 fumbles, something crazy, 3 fumbles and a pick, something like that. And that's honestly just kind of a kudos to D'Amico Ryans' defense. And the fact that anytime you can send 4 for an entire game for an entire season and get pressure, then you're going to have a top defense, right? And that's what they could do with Danielle Hunter and with Will Anderson. I know Danielle Hunter, I think, goes into free agency. I don't see how he doesn't want to come back. They're definitely a few pieces away from being a serious Super Bowl contender. But it's not going to happen until you get those big boys in check on the offensive side of the ball. And then as for the Patriots, man, I don't know. Something about this game, these championship games, they're kind of scaring me. The Broncos obviously had Bo Nix break his ankle on the second to last play against the Bills in a thriller of a game that Josh Allen sold. We got Jarrett Stidham, who is now going to be the starting quarterback, who, fun fact, was the quarterback prior to Bo Nix when he committed originally to Auburn and went and played there for a few years. Jarrett Stidham was a quarterback before him, and there are pictures of, like, Jarrett Stidham at Auburn and then Bo Nix on like a visit or something like that. It's pretty cool, full circle moment. But Jarrett Stidham is somebody that I have always seen as like one of the top tier quarterbacks, like backup quarterbacks in the league. I think there is a handful of teams that he could probably start for. So I don't think that you're going to see too much of a decline. He was there for, as long as Sean Payton has been back on the Broncos, Jarrett Stidham has been a Broncos quarterback. So he understands the offense really well. I don't think you're going to see a drop-off like you would expect to see, going into a divisional championship game when you have to now put in your backup quarterback for the first time. Obviously, I don't think that he's going to play amazing. I think his biggest thing is he needs to keep the ball out of harm's way. Limit the turnovers, right? They have really good secondary, New England does. And they got Christian Gonzalez, obviously, Carlton Davis. Both their safeties, my buddy Ron was talking to me about them. I've watched some game film on them. They look good. They're unnamed safeties that play really well for the Patriots, which was surprising because I remember being pretty upset that they dropped Jabril Peppers before the year started. That's another Michigan man. What a dog he was. But I don't know. It scares me, man. That game scares me. The Patriots should win it. They don't deserve to be back, but they are. And I actually am a fan of the Patriots. I do think that, I do like the Patriots. But anyways, I don't know, if the statistics show anything, the Patriots are 0-2 against the Broncos the last 9 times that they faced them in the playoffs. the last time a backup quarterback actually came and played in a divisional championship, it was the Patriots versus the Broncos, and it was Peyton Manning who was the backup to Brock Osweiler. To people who don't remember, Peyton Manning started off the year, then got benched for Osweiler, who played really well, flamed out in the playoffs. Defense carried him through. They threw the big-headed man back in for the divisional playoffs. Manning takes down Brady. Broncos go to the Super Bowl and win it. Kind of an interesting way to go about that. So does history repeat itself? Honestly, if I were a betting man, which I am, I would say yes. I think the Broncos are going to head back to the Super Bowl. I don't know. I'll be rooting for the Patriots, but I think it'll be the Broncos. And then to wrap it up here, because it's 8:59, I mean, how are you going to go against the Seahawks, man? That defense is something else. I thought it was going to be close against the Niners, and they put absolute belt to butt in a conference matchup in a divisional, or for the conference championship. And it's a divisional matchup. I don't know. The conference and division, they always mess me up. Anyways, two teams that play in the same division played for the conference championship. And usually when you see those interdivisional games during the regular season, they're super low scoring because it's a rivalry and you need those interdivisional records to be better, right? To be good. So they mean a lot more. And then you put that in the playoffs, and then the Seahawks go out and put up 42-6. Like, that is crazy. And I don't know. If Sam Darnold can keep himself from choking, then I don't think it'll necessarily be close. It'll be in Seattle. It'll be cold. And the Rams offense doesn't necessarily play great in the cold. So I think the Seahawks take it. I think you're going to be seeing a Broncos-Seahawks Super Bowl in which the Seahawks take it, and the Seahawks will be your 2025-2026 NFL Super Bowl champions. With that being said, I'm going to wrap it up. This has been the Broadway Joe Show for the last 30 minutes. I guess Region Angels is not Region Angels. I guess the award-winning Veterans Views is not coming in. They haven't been knocking on the window to let me in. They didn't text me, though, either. Unless I missed it. Nope. So we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for listening. For those that are still around, my name is Joe Cimino, and this is WJOB AM 1230. I don't think that's right. 104.7 FM, WJOB 1230 AM. That is right. That's how we're going to end it. Thank you guys so much for coming along with me and listening to me rant about sports. I love you all so very much, and I will see you guys next week.
Life's biggest challenges don't come with a warning. When legal issues arise, whether it's a car accident, personal injury, criminal charge, or representing you before municipal boards, you need a trusted advocate on your side. At Westland & Bennett, we listen first because your story matters. We provide strategic, personalized legal solutions to protect your rights, your freedom, and your future. Peace of mind starts with a conversation. Call 219-440-7550 today for a free consultation.